Episode 131.
Ooh.
Yes, and we have a very fleshy crew tonight.
As
you
no
can
skeleton
see,
crew here.
Fleshy?
Fleshy.
Oh, yeah,
Fleshy?
not skeleton.
I was not sure what that meant.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
not a skeleton crew. So I can't remember if it was Brom or Jamie or whatever. They're like, it's a fleshy crew. I was like,
Yep. And Jamie
Okay.
called it a fleshlight crew.
I
interesting.
don't think I did.
not a sponsor yet.
Pretty sure you
right?
did.
Wow. Yet.
We're still waiting on those in the mail, aren't we, guys?
We need to do
Submarine shape.
I think they sent one out. We're supposed to pass it around.
Oh.
we need to do more episodes a la episode 69, and we might be able to get a sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
True.
Yeah. Well, good Lord. Anyways, we have a semi-familiar face. You may have heard his sexy voice on the Star Wars Episode 1 episode. Nick is back with us tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, fellas.
We know you're excited about this.
I'm very excited.
You've asked me about this movie honestly a long time ago. So.
I think it was probably right when you told me you were starting a submarine podcast. I was like, let me know when you get to Atlantis The Lost Empire.
Look at that. He just spoiled it, guys. He just said what it
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Son of a bitch.
He did
We
it.
are
but-
jumping into a brand new movie month, the animated movie cycle. So we've done anime, dedicated to the Japanese anime styling, but we are doing a more open-ended animated movie month with 4 very unique animated films, and it's going to be fun. Very special.
Kid friendly, right?
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
I mean, the movies are, but I don't know if it is. But
This movie had some stuff, guys. I'm hoping Jamie brings out some of
It
those
was pretty
themes.
intense. Yeah.
There's some
It was
stuff.
pretty
Yeah.
intense.
we'll talk about some of that stuff as we get into it. But yeah, I mean, this is not our first Disney movie. No, it's not, because we did 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Were there any other Disney movies we did?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Disney owns 20th Century Fox now, so probably.
What about Mr. Limpet? Is that Disney?
Oh,
I don't think so.
I like how Zach just popped back up from
Yeah,
off screen.
Zach
He's
like perked
dude,
up.
whoa,
He's
whoa,
like,
whoa. Limpet?
Someone-
You know
say
how much I
Limpet?
like Limpet. You know how much I like Limpet.
Dude.
I'm sure it's probably a Touchstone. You guys probably done a Touchstone one at some point, though. That was Disney's adult studio.
Oh, adult film studio.
Yes.
Looks like they were potentially trying to branch into that with this movie in some segments, but we can talk about that later.
This is a good animated film. I'm ready. Let's
You
do
ready?
it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Anybody got anything super important they need to say? I mean, sorry, that came off as really standoffish.
That was very aggressive.
We'll say we got Nick guest hosting tonight, but we will, as part of this cycle, be having our first female co-host to add a little bit of a female voice. People have asked for it. They said, we need a female voice on this podcast. We're
Good for you guys.
It surely is a long time coming. You would think
We're getting
that
it tonight.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we are tonight?
Yes.
Oh yeah. We have a
So
special
two?
guest later tonight.
So we got 2 female hosts queued up. That's unprecedented. It's wild.
And Zach is dawning. Zach,
Sorry.
put your tiara back on. He's got. Oh man, he's got the
Maybe
submersion
you send me
logo.
a better quality product, Kyle.
Hey, look at
Hey,
your
I was the one that
boy
made that.
to your right who made that. Okay. I only maybe your left. Jamie podcasting.
Great
Yeah.
podcasting.
Well, the podcasters are going to love our segment too. We have something super excited. Nick he had an idea. He's like, I want to do this. Look at you. You look like, who are you? Who are you, Zach? He had an idea for a segment, and I was like, why don't we turn it into a game? And he said, go for it. So we got that coming up later. Should be pretty fun. Should be pretty exciting. I'm super pumped for it. But anyways, this is a podcast about submarine movies, so maybe we should just...
Dive!
What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, the artist formerly known as Brom, Jamie the Ointment, Kyle El Capitan, and the Gruesome Twosome present Submersion.
Limpet.
Oh my God. Yeah,
All right.
that's actually what it needs to be.
That is a good idea. So you probably couldn't hear us. We were just talking during the intro, but Zach's not happy that his face is not on the submarine. He said, Kyle, you got aggressive with me earlier in the episode already, and my face isn't on the submarine, and you got to put me on the submarine. If you want to be on the Periscope, Rob said, you be a shark, and then Nick said, limp it. It's like,
Wow.
I'm out, Nick's in,
Genius.
dude. Just get this going. This is the episode where I step down, and Nick is now me.
We need to keep you on for all the audiovisual issues because I'm worthless.
Well, I clearly wasn't much help, and I look white as a ghost, so is what it is. But Nick, you were very excited for this.
I am.
What did
I
we?
was.
Everybody knows already, and I have to do it because we've done it for 131 episodes now. What did we get to watch this week?
Atlantis The Lost Empire, presented by Disney.
And may I ask a quick question before we get into anything further? Are you a Disney everything fan, or are you like a specifically Atlantis Lost Empire fan?
Oh, no, I'm a pretty big Disney everything fan. I mean, the movies especially, obviously. I mean, I think we were pretty lucky that, we grew up during what's known as the Disney Renaissance. It's when the Disney animated movies got good again. And then other than that, my family were real big on Disney parks. So I've been to Disney World more times than I can count. I do some Disney travel agent work on the side. So I'm pretty committed, I would say, at this point.
And the second follow-up question.
Yes.
Have you seen the sequel to this movie, and does it also have a submarine in it?
It does. It does
Okay,
have.
well, there we go. I'll write it down.
It also has a Kraken.
What?
I know, I saw that I couldn't
Yeah.
tell from the Wikipedia page whether there's
Yeah.
a submarine in it. I could tell there was a Kraken since it's a big
Yeah, yeah. The sequel is pretty terrible.
It's gonna be good.
We'll wait on the trivia. We'll wait to the trivia.
Yeah, it's going to be good though for season. What would it be? 40 something at this point would be
Kraken movies?
Kraken cast. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That'd be a good
Kraken
one.
cast is pretty good. I mean, it's got a few nice movies in there for Kraken.
Actually, I think
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
So we'll Kraken.
he's gonna release the
that
Kraken.
would be a sponsor. Not yet a sponsor, I guess.
Not yet.
But season 40, when we're all like in a retirement home watching Kraken movies, can't even remember
VR.
what the heck we just watched. Yeah, and VR. Yeah, we are the Kraken. That'd be cool. Yeah. So yeah, huge. Maybe not huge cast. I mean, it's a huge cast, but like main characters, we got Michael J. Fox as our main boy Milo, and other people as well.
James Garner. we do know James Garner.
James Garner, man.
Garner, yep. Phil Morris.
Jim
Yep.
Barney, Leonard Nimoy, John Mahoney.
Jim
I think
Barney
this
was
was-
very. You could really.
I think it was Jim Barney's last role, actually, before he passed away.
Right before he died. Yeah, it was released just before he died.
How many?
Or
Was
just
he?
after.
So was he not in Toy Story 3?
No, that was. I can't remember the guy's name.
The guy isn't he in those Adam Sandler movies though? It's like that.
Yeah. He was Sean's dad on Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that guy. Okay,
Yeah, he replaced Jim Barney. They were good friends, apparently.
they've got a super similar voice.
They do.
Yeah.
I love Jim
So
Barney.
I know, man.
The only other thing.
It's just
Oh,
like
sorry, go ahead.
just Ernest, Scared Stupid. You remember that one?
That was my favorite Ernest movie. Is Scared Stupid.
That is the best one.
It's kind of like scary, but it's just so good. I remember when I was a child, and my parents opened up the newspaper and they said, "Oh, look, a new Ernest movie's coming out." And then they paused, and then in the Sydney Daily News, it said, "Ernest goes to heaven."
Seriously?
And it was his obituary. Yeah.
Seriously, they did that?
But that's what they titled the article, and that happened.
That's so.
And I literally thought that like,
Awful.
he was coming out with the movie, and then all is like, oh wait, no, he's actually dead. And Zach, the movies you've been watching for the last 10 years of your life, he's gone. So that was a sad moment for me.
I imagine Doug looking and like smirking at you, being like, "Yeah, bastard.
I wonder if they even remember that moment. I do. It's funny.
What season is Ernest cast?
Ernest cast? Ooh.
Let's bump that up to the early ones, guys.
Next season, here we go. Not doing trains. We're doing Ernest cast.
Can't wait to watch.
I'm looking forward to Train Cast, though. Not going to even lie.
Dude, train cast is going to be the stuff of legends. That's all I got to say.
Train Cast could be
Train Cast needs to happen sooner than later. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I really wanted to be Extreme Excursion, the third, or the Extreme Sports.
That would be a good one.
But that seems to be third.
We need the train.
Because what you see, you got that movie. All right. Anyways, let's get into this, Jamie. I'm going to start your timer right now.
Yeah. The only other thing to mention is that Joss Whedon was a on the story for this. That was the only thing other thing that caught my eye. Anyways, we open, and it's the craziest opening that I can remember for a Disney film, where we are just like have all kinds of, there's like an explosion in the background, looks like an atomic bomb, all kinds of robots start flying at you. A tidal wave is coming. They're flying to the city. People are dying left and right. They're like, oh, yeah. Run for shelter. And the things are exploding. All these like people, poor Atlanteans are getting smashed to smithereens by a tidal wave. And they all run in to where there's like a barrier coming up. And a little girl is holding onto her mom's hand, and the mom kind of turns over, got glowy eyes, and flies up into the sky where there's kind of like a crystal like light thing.
Before that even happens, the best thing, and I think you just like glazed over it. It was ridiculous, right? So she's running, and the little girl has the bear in her hand, and she drops it. Yep. And like she wants to go back for it, and the mom like stops to take this really long pause and like grabs her. She's like, there's no time to go back for it. I'm like, you literally just could have grabbed it. Like, there was so much time.
I'd never noticed that before, and I was like, what? She got down on her knees and like held her there.
I know. It's like, dude.
I thought I got the moment when I was watching that beginning, because you're right, Jamie. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling of the red eye of Sauron, right? Mm-hmm. That thing was just shooting out. It's like, that's Lord of the Rings. And flying sharks. It was awesome.
And they're speaking a different language.
They are.
Yeah.
And which is kind of weird for little kids having to try to like read subtitles and shit. But
trying to read.
Yeah. But anyways, they have the whole dome come up. Tidal wave washes over them. Atlantis is gone. And then we jump forward what we're told later to be, 8,800 years later or something?
I think so, because it starts in like 360 BC or whatever is what I have in my notes. And it's 1914 or something like that?
Yeah, it's 1914. Milo Thatch, our hero, he's working as a linguist at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and he's giving a presentation. He's saying, and this is from like a linguistics point of view, probably the funniest scene in the movie, because he's like, oh, I found all this shit, and I know exactly where land it is. And they originally said it was in Ireland, but guess what? I retranslated it, and it actually they got a letter wrong. It's actually not Ireland, it's Iceland, which is not really how language works. No. How they weren't calling it Ireland or Iceland and spelled out in English, where they were just like replacing each letter.
In 360 BC, they weren't doing that?
No, they weren't. That wasn't actually what was happening. So it was just like, it was a funny scene where it's like, oh my God. No wonder no one wants to fund this expedition based on gobbledygook. But he gets a call, and basically he's like, oh, okay, like you need something. And it kind of revealed that he's not talking to anyone. He's talking to a bunch of props in his like basement office. He works in the boiler room. He like helps keep the institution like running or whatever. But then at the same time, he gets like a letter, and it says basically like, oh, by the way, your meeting was moved up to 3:30. And he looks at the clock, and he's basically like missed it. And then he gets another letter that says, sorry, you couldn't make it. And he's like, oh shit. And he runs, and he tries to like get up to the meeting, and all the people are like, ha ha ha, like, thank God we'd have to listen to Milo, right? And they're like, and then all of a sudden they see Milo and like, oh, how'd they find me? And they like all run away, except for the one guy, the main guy. And Milo's like, you got to fund my trip, man. Like, I gotta have all the evidence. And he's like, just do your boiler room stuff. You have a job, you have whatever, just do it. And like, don't even like worry about it. Don't go off on like fairy tales and fables, man.
There's a line in there that I didn't notice before too. Like when all the people are like making fun of Milo, and the one guy's like, "If I have to hear the word Atlantis again, I'm going to step in front of a bus." He's like, "I'll push you." Yeah, because I'll push you. I was like, Jesus,
dude. They They're
We're not even
they're
5
cutting
minutes
loose, man. This is early 2000s, dude. They don't care. Let it fly.
2001.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah.
That's true. And so then Milo goes home. He's all dejected. He's like, what am I going to do? Am I just going to be in the boiler room all the time? And there is tall, blonde woman in his house. And he's like, what?
Dude.
And she's like, come with me. I'm Helga.
Absolute smoke show. Just like, how'd you get in here? He's like, I'm not going to ask too many questions because she wants me to go do something.
Right. So she takes him to Preston Whitmore. He's a millionaire. And Whitmore knew his grandfather, who was like almost like a father to Milo, and what is the reason why he's like obsessed with this whole thing in the first place. And basically says, oh, by the way, you didn't even know this, but your grandfather found the thing that you're claiming that you don't want to find. He already found it. Shepard's journal. It's right here. And he's like, whoa. And Milo's like, this is like the key. I can find Atlantis. And he's like, no one can read it. And Milo's like, I can? Ever heard of it?
It's actually in Iceland, bro?
Yeah. And so he's flipping through. He's telling all this stuff. And eventually, Whitmore kind of reveals, oh, well, this was kind of like a test. Like, we just need to make sure that you were like in it to win it. You could do it. And we're going to now use my specialized submarine that I built just for you to go and find Atlantis. And Milo's like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And he's also, and then there was a small moment of, it's always funny in these older Disney films to find moments that are probably a little off key that wouldn't fly anymore in the thing. Basically, part of it also that Whitmore like bet that his grandfather couldn't find the Shepherd's journal, and the bet was that he would kiss him full in the mouth. And then there's a picture of them both looking like super disgusted after having to kiss after he lost the bet. And I'm like,
dude, that was kind of funny.
Why do we need that?
Because why not, man? They gotta throw that in. And like, don't you think Milo's grandpa would have like told him rather than have his grandson dedicate his life to just trying to find Iceland rather than Ireland? But he's like, no, dude, that guy's got to earn his stripes or something. I don't get it.
I don't know. I think the idea was maybe that he died and then wasn't able to fulfill going to Atlantis.
But he didn't tell Milo?
Away.
Like Milo would
have been like maybe Milo's like a little kid. I don't know. I don't know how old Milo is when his grandfather died.
Yeah, the timeline's a little iffy.
Had to have been 5.
Yeah, he's at least 5, if not 6.
He's 5. He can't comprehend it.
Right.
My grandpa loves some underwater civilization thing. People are like, dude, shut up. And he's like, I'm going to dedicate my life to it when I live in a boiler room.
I
okay.
had a substitute teacher in high school that told me that trees talk to each other.
Dude. Let's, after we talk,
I'm not even joking.
No, I know. After we do the movie thing, you should just talk about that because that story is insane. It is so
We'll
good.
just call it. We'll call him Mr. B without giving his real name.
There we go.
So, anyways, you're cutting into my time.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is good
Expedition
stuff.
Departs. We're introduced to all kinds of characters, a whole cast of characters. We got Rourke. He's the bad guy, obviously. We got Vinny. He's a demolitions expert. He's all like, "Hey, what's up? I got like I'm dynamite." And then Mole. He's a geologist and he's a total weirdo, and it just seems almost like a cartoon character, which I guess is appropriate for a cartoon. Dr. Sweet, he's a medical officer. He's big and built. And then he's like super strong. And then Audrey is a mechanic. She's a mechanic. She's like a teenager mechanic. Mrs. Packard, she's like a super old lady. Who was on like the original stuff. She's a radio operator. And then Cookie is like our classic cook. Like I actually kind of enjoyed that despite being kind of a short submarine movie, as you'll see, they did key in on all the main characters that you want for a submarine movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I also enjoyed the fact that Packard smoked the entire movie.
Yeah, she smoked a whole bunch.
She sounded like she smoked the whole time.
Constant.
And did you guys also did you guys notice this with Audrey? Did she only have like a tooth? Just like one big tooth?
The animation on this was very different than what I remember for a lot of Disney films. So
animation, yeah.
She almost seemed like anime, like her features seemed more anime than a Disney film. So it's hard.
I wrote down a lot of stuff about the animation just because it's like it was so unique.
Yeah, super unique. So, anyways, they start off and one kind of fault of this movie, not to jump ahead to reviews or anything like that, but they don't really take a lot of time to develop what's going on because they launch on the submarine and it's basically like, hey, here's all these people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Milo, tell us what's going on. And Milo's basically like, oh, there's like a Leviathan maybe. And everyone's like, shut up, Milo. We don't even care. And then they're like, what's up ahead? And they're all of a sudden like basically cruising towards Atlantis. Like, oh, if I'm looking for a crevice. And then this is a Leviathan. Like, oh, shit, the Leviathan that Milo was just talking about 5 minutes after we launched this submarine. And then they're like, oh, no, like we should definitely go after this Leviathan. And they have a big battle. And the Leviathan like grabs onto them. It's like a big lobster machine. It's a robot. And then they are getting crushed. It's like shooting laser beams at them. And they have to launch all these little submarines off filled with people. And people are just dying everywhere. And they even talk about it. They're like, we had like a crew of 200 and basically like no one's left. Everyone was murdered by a giant lobster robot.
But they're all NPCs. You don't even know who these people are. Of course, the guys.
Some of them don't even have faces. They just have them in like gas masks.
Yeah, those mask guys, like totally, like even if play a video game, you're like, those are bad guys. Like we're gonna kill those guys at some point tonight.
Yeah. So Milo's able to get them into this cavern. He kind of says it's like a sink where you kind of come up, and so now that's the end of the submarines. They jump out of the submarines and they've got all their kind of machines to dig holes and stuff like that. It's Mole's time to shine, demolition guys time to shine, and we get into what is more or less just a montage of them working through the cavern, becoming best of friends. And they're like left and right becoming bestie friends with each other. Slowly, everyone's kind of accepting Milo, who is every night he's like researching, trying to figure out the best way to get them to where they need to go. And they're like, why do you study so much? And they're like getting to know each other. Milo's like, oh, my grandfather. What about you? And everyone's like, I owned a flower shop. And like the teenage girl's like, my dad wanted a boy, and I became like a mechanic. And Mole is like, I'm like a weirdo. I don't know. No one has any backstory from Mole.
They did, but they didn't want to know it. Or,
right. No one wanted to know.
Sweet knew it, and he's like, you don't want to know. And I was like, I like that, right? Because it's just
you should have told me. I wish you hadn't.
Right.
I'm telling you, you don't want to know.
And so and then at one point, so they get up to this part where they're like, oh, we feel like we're getting pretty close. There's like a little like bridge over to somewhere else, and the whole time they're getting followed by some people in masks and stuff like that. So they go to sleep, and the people in masks go up and see, some of the stuff in camp, and you can tell that they're like intrigued by Milo in particular. But then these fireflies come down and light everything on fire, and they have to try to run away from all this, like these explosions from these fireflies. And as they're trying to get away, the bridge collapses and they fall into like a super duper deep hole, which turns out to be like a volcano or whatever.
Yeah, volcanic vent with like magma blocking it, and they could blow it open. They think they could blow it open and escape, but I'm like, wouldn't that release the magma? I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a geologist, I guess. So I don't know.
I guess we'll see, because that may or may not happen at the end of this movie.
Oh no way!
And so then Milo, he sees the person, the people who've been following, and starts following after them, being like, "Oh, who are these people?" And they're all following, and they all get trailed out to where they find Atlantis. There it is, sitting across the lava, with like a little path there, and the Atlanteans are there. And they're basically start to talk, and Milo can understand. And they're like, holy shit, you can understand us? And Milo's like, yeah, how about, can you understand this? And they speak French, and they know that. They speak English, they start to know that. And all of a sudden it's like, they're super linguists, and they know all the languages. And they're like, come on, let's go to Atlantis. You're the key.
Dude, did you notice?
Oh, sorry, what are you saying, Nick?
No, the late great Jim Varney as Cookie had a wonderful line when they first, I can't remember if it's when he first sees Atlantis or when he first sees the Atlanteans, but it's a line that I never noticed until I watched it last night. And it's a line that they probably wouldn't include nowadays. So he's supposed to be like this, southwestern, cowboy cook. And he looks at these people and he says, sweet mother of Jefferson Davis.
I know, yeah. Again, another thing that
and
would imply.
It killed me. I don't know why. It's just the strangest curse. I'm sorry. I just had to bring that up because that killed me last night.
Dude, did anybody else notice?
I didn't catch that. That's interesting.
When they
Davis in there.
When they were like looking at Atlantis, when they found it, and they're like, holy shit, there's Atlantis, and they're like standing on a cliff looking at it, like the camera panned away and there was nothing behind them. You couldn't even see like the big digging machine, but then you look back and there's this like 300-foot wall cliff right behind him, and the digging machine is right there. Anybody else notice that, or just no? You guys are worried, hung up on Jefferson Davis, and I'm just sitting there like, where'd the cliff go, bro? Like it's just gone. It's just out of here.
So they go across, and so they meet. And basically, the woman who's there is Kida. She's like the princess, the daughter of the king, and she is super intrigued because, in her opinion, Atlantis is falling apart and on the verge of dying, and they need help. And so she thinks Milo, because he can understand the language clearly, knows something about Atlantis, thinks, okay, this is going to be our savior. So he goes to the king, and the king's basically like, rules be rules. Get out of here. Rules are cools. And, no outsiders
Pretty
allowed
much
in
said
Atlantis.
kill him.
Yeah, no outsiders allowed. Like, get out of here. And Rourke
better
is
off,
like,
right?
Yeah, Rourke's like, give us one night. Just let us stay. We need to recoup. We've lost all these people. Like everyone's been murdered by you, kind of inadvertently, Leviathan. And they are like, he's like, fine, whatever. You can stick around for a sec.
Did anybody recognize the king's voice?
Yeah.
Well, I know it. Yeah, I know it from the
Yeah.
past. Yeah.
Late great Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. A lot of late greats.
I had to look it up. I was
There's
like,
a lot of
I
dead
know
people
this guy's
today.
voice.
And so, as they're kind of going away, Milo is very intrigued by Kida. Kida's very intrigued by Milo. And he's like, I'm going to find out what's going on. There's something they're withholding, something they're holding back about this whole situation. And I'm going to get the answers. So he kind of confronts Kida. But Kida, is basically like, I also have questions for you. And she's really intrigued because no one can read. He's got this book, and no one in Atlantis can read, basically, more or less. He's like the only one. Like, he's like, you can read these ruins? And he's like, yeah. And so she's like, okay, well, I'm going to show you something. So she takes him to take this machine, unveils it, and goes, and he's like, oh, yeah, you can just, it has the words on it. It tells you how to use it. And she's like, what, really? And they use like a crystal and turn on this machine, and it flies all over the place. And he's got these machines working again. And she's like, whoa, like, I'm going to show you another thing.
He mansplains the shit out of
I
this
know.
to her.
Another thing I was going to say, the mansplaining in a couple of these scenes is off the chain.
Okay, I'm glad you guys said it because I was literally sitting there tonight watching with Carly. And I'm like, is this like a joke? I'm like, he's explaining everything. I'm like, is this a joke?
The line that really killed me was when he turns on the machine, he goes, you were really close. You should be really impressed how close you actually got, though. And I was like, that is classic mansplaining.
Well, and he mansplained to Audrey earlier about the boiler on the truck,
boiler.
and she just hit him.
Yeah. So anyway, she's like, oh, well, I really like that mansplaining. Come mansplain this other thing to me. So they go swimming, and I don't even know how Milo could swim the way that he was. It's funny. She's like, I'm going to take you to this thing. They're diving way under the ocean. I'd be like, I can't do that. What are you what am I, a fish?
Yeah,
Come on,
you want to like free dive 600 feet right now? You're like, sure, yeah, I've been training for that. That sounds great.
Yeah, this is an academic. He works in the boiler room of the Smithsonian. He ain't diving like that. But anyway, so they get down there, and he's reading all this stuff, basically being like, well, I can't believe that all this stuff wasn't in the book. The book had everything. It was basically like an encyclopedia. Telling you where like the main power source of Atlantis is and what it's doing. It's like something, blah, blah, all this stuff going on. And so they, he kind of comes up from the surface. He's like, that was amazing. Like, I know so much about this power source, and we can't take it. Like, originally his point was like, maybe I can harness this power, bring some of this power back, and like power the world for nothing. But now he's like, we can't, because it is truly what keeps like Atlantis alive and all these people alive. And so he comes to the surface, and who's sitting there waiting for him? Everyone with guns, which I felt like was kind of a weird choice for a Disney film, to have all of the people you've come to like sitting there with guns pointed at your main character.
Oh yeah, dude. But then, like, Kida wastes no time here. This is where it's also savage, right? Because they like pull her out of the water. She's like just in a bikini, whatever, and they like they got her at gunpoint. She instantly jumps a dude with a knife and is like gonna like cut his throat, and then they shoot the gun or the knife out of her. And I was like, dude, this movie is intense for like what we're watching here. It's a little next level, but
yeah. So then it turns out that what the reason why he didn't know anything about this was Rourke had ripped out one of the pages from the journal. So he had this page, a missing page, that kind of explained this whole thing about the power source, and he's like, well, I guess you now realize we're here to grab that. No matter what, whether these people need it or not, we're going to take it, we're going to sell it as a weapon, and we're going to earn all kinds of money. Don't even worry about it. And Milo is horrified, and they're like, well, them's the breaks. So then they go over to the old man Rivers king, immediately punch him in the stomach, and I was like, whoa, don't do that, he's so old. And so the king is like, oh, you punch me in the stomach, okay, fine. And what they realize is that the power source is in the king's eye, which is what was in the book, and he realizes sitting on the throne, where the throne is positioned, he can actually see where that is. It's a pattern in the water. So they walk out there, and it's able to start taking them deep down into Atlantis, where presumably this power source is housed.
Would you have even been shocked if when they said it's in the king's eye, and then the king had like a glass eye, and then they like cut it out of his head? Would you have been shocked in this movie, or would you have been like, I guess this is par for the course?
I would have been a little shocked, because I wouldn't have necessarily thought that this giant star we saw in the beginning of the film, but then that would turn out to just being a glass eye.
Oh, come on.
But you know what? I did think that he was going to threaten to cut out his eyeballs if he didn't tell him.
Good.
It's in the king's eye. Well, maybe I'll take your eyes. And the king's like, shit. Okay, well. So then they go down there. He pull Keto with him. This is where a little bit of the plot, it starts to fall apart a little bit plot-wise. Like, I'm not even sure what happens at this point, because Keita and Milo and Rourke go down there. There's these spinning like rocks, and they're like, oh, it's the former leader. Every former leader of Atlantis becomes like a rock that spins around and protects this power source. But all of a sudden, Keita gets like glowy eyes and walks forward, flies up into this power source. The power source kind of like falls apart. She comes down as like basically a pure power being, and walks. And then they just like, it shows them putting her into like a bin, like a cage of sorts. And I was like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Isn't she like an ultra being? And she just like walked straight into this like little prison and like sat there. I didn't get it.
I didn't either. It was getting a little wild,
I got nothing.
So anyways, Rourke's
Nobody
like,
knows.
well,
Nobody
that
knows
was
what
easy.
happened.
Well, they reference it too, that I guess like it's something with the royal family. Yeah. And because that's what happened to her mother in the prologue, is the crystal called to her mother and drew on the power of the royal family or something. So I guess the same thing was happening again. They don't really explain why, but yeah.
I mean, the only thing you can maybe say is that it was something having to do with, they knew, like the power source knew the only way to protect Atlantis was to go with Rourke initially in order to then turn the other people who would then protect Atlantis to the outside world or whatever, something like that, rather than kill everyone. Because you presume this being of pure power could just laser beam everyone away and be like, oh, now you're protected. Don't even worry about it. But instead, they go through this whole rigmarole. Anyways, Rourke has the thing. Milo's basically like, fuck you dudes. I thought you were my friends, Dr. Sweet, or whatever. I guess Dr. Sweet already, he decided to stick behind anyways. But the other people are like, you know what? You're right. It's not all about the money. We're actually good people. We're sticking with Milo. And Rourke and Helga are like, okay, fine. And they just like drive off and blow up the bridge behind them. And they're all like, all the people are like, well, we're screwed because we're dead. Power source is gone. We're in the middle of Atlantis. The place is dying. We're going to be in a rock under the ocean. Thanks, Milo, if that's even your name. And Milo's like, wait. Let me mansplain something to you. Let me mansplain something to all of you. He's like, this is how you use these machines. And they jump onto these machines and like, this is where we're going to get it back. And they fly off on their like machines. They have a bunch of kind of interesting animation with their 3D stuff. They fly in, they see them, and they're getting to a hot air balloon, which is fantastic for hot. Well, did we already make hot air balloon movies a season yet or no?
You should.
I don't believe so. I'd have to pull up my notes here.
There's a lot of them. That Three Musketeers 3D movie that came out, Ghost of Mars. I mean, I could count at least 3 movies with hot air balloons in them.
Enough to make a season.
Wizard of Oz, right?
There you go.
Oz.
Oh, very good.
Oh my god, classics all over
in
the
the
place.
chat. Embers of Stern says we could also do dirigible season.
Oh, no, well, I think
Mummy,
those would be merged.
right?
I think those would be merged.
Oh, we're doing it all together? Okay.
Yeah,
Lighter
Three
than air
Musketeers. Yeah, and Lighter Than Air. I like that.
Ooh.
Oh.
So anyways, they catch up. They're in this like kind of crazy balloon. They're taking the thing up. They had opened up the top of the volcano and they're heading out. And Milo's like, time to take them out. And we get a dogfight in the air. People shooting other people, blowing up planes left and right, killing more people, as many people as they can, really.
Yeah, they're just like slingshotting planes into the sky somehow. Like, I don't know how they had that rig.
Dude.
Right, yeah.
Going on.
1914.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't even talk about like way earlier on when like all they escaped into Atlantis and they were on mini subs and all of a sudden they had like just boatloads of trucks and digging machines and now planes and presumably weapons of mass destruction. I mean, who knows what's over there?
Well, they do. They have at least one weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah,
Her name's Kita.
Big crystal or something.
And so anyways, the balloon's going up. They try a couple times to get Kita off of there, but none of them really work. They're able to kind of compromise the balloon a little bit, so they need to throw weight off. And Rourke is basically immediately like, Helga, have fun, and throws her off the balloon. And so she's like falling. This is a crazy thing too. She fell like 100 feet onto rocks below, and then she's able to like turn around and be like, well, fuck you, and like shoots the balloon a little bit as well. It's like, wait, how did you live through that? That seems crazy. But Milo also, to save the day, gets onto the balloon, and he's getting into some fisticuffs with Rourke, who's way bigger. But in the end, Rourke he's able to kind of smash into the power source, or Kita's like prison, grab a piece of glass that's like infused with the power somehow. I don't even know. Slices Rourke in the arm. He turns into like a crazy monster energy being as well, and he kind of explodes or something. Is that what happens?
I got nothing.
Yes, he does.
He,
I don't know
explodes.
how to really describe it. Things were getting
and then
absolutely out of hand.
Then Milo's able to get Kita's like little prison. The whole volcano is starting to erupt, so he gets the prison hooked up to their little flying machines and are able to fly her back to Atlantis, where she's able to get the protective dome, like in the beginning of the movie, over Atlantis, just as the lava comes over, and it activates all kinds of robots, which seemed like something. Maybe like these giant robots, and they weren't even hidden very well. Like one was just like crouched in the ocean, like looked like a giant robot, and just like got up. And I was like, wouldn't they kind of? I mean, I guess they probably would mention, oh, there's also these robots. Can you mansplain that? And Milo would be like, yeah, actually, I can. That's a book tells me.
So maybe if you guys knew how to read, here we go, page 37, bro.
And so then they're all sitting there afterwards. He's basically Milo's like, they're like, oh, Milo, aren't you gonna come with me? He's like, have you seen Kita? She's smoking. Hot.
8,800 years.
Yeah, she's 8,800 years old, but still looking great. I get to live forever in Atlantis, apparently, I think, probably. He's like, it's theoretically, I'm going to live forever now. And so, like, no, I'm going to become basically the first, I guess you'd call him the first man in the situation. She's the queen, and he's kind of just like her king of sorts. But like, I'm going to stay here. And they're like, okay. And he's like, keep it all secret. And they go off with a whole bunch of treasures. They give them a whole bunch of treasure because they're heroes. And so they go off, and Whitmore is sitting there being like, so you didn't find anything. And it pans over to the whole crew, and they're obviously filthy rich. And they're like, yeah, didn't really find anything.
Well, I think this is to get them to keep their story straight.
Right.
That's what all this is. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, they are dressed to the nines. Like, I think Cookie's got like gauged out ears with big diamonds in them, all that. Yeah, Zach, you got your hand up. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
and I don't know if we're there yet or not, but have we reached the part where they find, is it Whitmore again at the end?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
At the beginning of the movie, Whitmore did one of these. Did you guys catch that?
The finger crossed.
I didn't catch one.
You didn't catch that?
I didn't catch that.
When he's waving to the submarine at the beginning of the movie, when it's dispersing, when it's leaving, he's like waving with his one hand, and he puts his other hand behind his back, crosses his fingers, and the scene cuts.
Do you think
he
it was
in on it with like Rourke or whatever?
But like, I literally was like, he's it. Like, that's it. That's the bad guy. Like, he's gonna fuck them all over at the end of the movie.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's like fingers crossed, like a hopeful thing.
You're right. I didn't think about that. I just assumed the worst. That's a good point.
I mean, he might have been in cahoots with Rourke.
That's good though. That's interesting. Fans, you let us know what your opinions are.
I never noticed that.
I didn't.
Yeah,
know
I mean,
that.
it happened. It's not just bullshit, Zach. It was real.
Yeah, I don't know, because it definitely doesn't fit with the tone. Like, it's not like they were obviously trying to hide the fact that they found Atlantis and stuff like that, mostly just so that other people didn't go there. But obviously, Milo.
Oh, what? I'm sorry, Jamie. Well, Cal, okay. Jeez.
What?
That was a terrible view.
Was it? It was just my chest.
That was
My
bad.
chest. All right.
Yeah.
Should I have squeezed them together? Would that have been good for you?
And so then Milo, but like Milo gives him a little gift at the end that kind of says like, we both thank you. And so Whitmore has like a little crystal from Atlantis, and he's all happy about that. And then we see the final scene where, because the power source is up in the sky now, Atlantis is like flourishing, which just makes me think that the king, Kita's dad, terrible leader, terrible. Just like let the whole place nearly die. While Kita's basically like, maybe we don't. Maybe an idea would be we don't let it die. And the father's like, well, we'll let it play out. We'll see what happens. And so anyways, she's like, now that she's the queen, everything's going great. But they still put his like giant stone face up into the sky anyways. And that's the end. That's the end of the movie. Before we get to Milo's return. Okay, let's dive straight into that guy.
Wow.
God.
Dude, there it is. 2001 Atlantis.
2001 Atlantis?
Sorry. What am I talking about?
Space Odyssey. No.
Yeah.
2010.
That makes it sound like, Moby Dick movie, that 2010. Amazing movie if you haven't watched it.
That's true.
I get it, guys. I know we're in a podcast, you can only hear a voice, but if you check the Discord, so listeners, join our Discord, you can see this screenshot from the movie that verifies what I said.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. I don't want to screw up what I have going here.
Wow,
right
you're
now.
right.
No, I'm not bullshitting.
He's thumbs upping them while also crossing his fingers behind his back.
Interesting.
Scandalous.
Hmm.
Should we get into some reviews of this bad boy? See
I
what
think
we
we should,
thought.
yeah.
All right. We should go first. We do have a guest. Nick, do you want to go first, or?
I would be honored.
Okay.
I would be
Lay it on
honored.
us.
So, I am a fan. I think that's kind of the whole point of me being here. That being said, this movie is one of those that like I'm completely aware of its faults. It's weird. It was made at a time, like we were saying before. The Disney Renaissance was, basically The Little Mermaid, I think, through Tarzan is considered the Disney Renaissance. And that's when Disney animation was really, revitalized, and they were getting big into the Broadway style musicals and that kind of thing. So this was definitely a departure from that. They were trying something completely different. It was an action movie. I think it was rated PG. So yeah, the execution of it was not perfect. There's there's some parts of the storyline that definitely don't hold up to any scrutiny. But overall, I still think it's a very enjoyable movie. Like we said, the style of it's very unique. The animation itself is very different for Disney animation in general, but especially at the time, the fact that it's not a musical. I think it's just fun. It's fun to watch a dumb animated action movie, one that you don't have to think about too much. And I will say, for the size of the cast that it has, the amount of stuff that happens in it, it moves along at a pretty quick pace. Like at least I don't feel like there's any part of it that lagged. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but there's no part of it that dragged or felt slow. I think pacing wise it was pretty good. And it's also shorter than I remembered it being. I remember always thinking like, oh, this is an action movie. It's got to be at least 2 hours. I didn't realize it was only like 96 minutes. Like it's a pretty quick movie considering, again, the size of the cast and the amount of stuff that happens and the world building that went on and all that. So, it's not my favorite Disney movie. It's high on my list, but I'm gonna give it an 8.
Whoa!
Oh,
There
wow.
we go.
Got an 8.
Right.
Strong
Yeah.
score.
Yeah,
Zach,
I'm going
I
to take
see
my
you-
traditional second spot. But kind of what you're
Okay. One thing I do have to note is, Nick, you brought up Tarzan, and I don't know if you guys seen the memes with like the Phil Collins stuff and Tarzan lately.
He went so hard.
Yeah, have you seen it? Oh, it's so funny because like the meme is just like, all right, Phil, it's a movie about a guy who thinks he's a monkey. Like you don't have to do anything crazy. And then it's like just Charlie Day with like cocaine on his face doing Nightmare.
I saw another one of
playing
like
a piano on fire on the beach.
Yeah.
I will say, Jamie, I'm sorry. No disrespect. No
you gonna do it?
disrespect. But not me. But our other special guest wants to cut in.
Let's do it.
Oh,
They want to cut in. They want to cut
ladies
in.
and gentlemen, a submersion first.
Submersion
Is this the first wife to be on a podcast besides Danzig?
Yes.
That's true. She did
This
declare.
this looks actually like it's
I'm
real.
going to mansplain this to you. This is the microphone. This is what you talk.
Hi.
Hey, Carly.
Hey, Carly. Hey, you're missing parts of your head right now. I got to figure out what's going on with you.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's okay. You can start giving us your review for Atlantis.
Listen.
Oh, there's a
this is
cat.
also Marvin. This is Marvin. He's our
Hey,
new
Marvin.
Remember, podcasts can't see.
kitty. Oh, well, Marvin's a 1 year. Okay. Listen, I love Atlantis. I don't know what you guys typically say on impromptu reviews, but I went downstairs and Zach had the TV on and it was pulled up to Atlantis, and I said, "Is this your movie of the week?" And he said, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "Because I love this movie."
It's great.
It's a great movie. I don't know.
What sets this
Specifics?
above the typical Disney animated film for you?
I wish I had a clear-cut answer. I think it's just a better storyline. I don't know. I think this is one of the most underrated Disney movies ever.
Amen.
I truly do. I've said that for a long time, and I will die on that hill.
Carly, I'm not even going to lie. Like, your glasses and Milo's glasses are, like, very similar.
That's true.
I know.
Oh,
Wow.
I just channel Milo. That's what I do. No, I don't know. I think it's because it's a legend that we all have heard at least once. And the movie kind of brings it to life, and it's just entertaining. And it was fun for me to kind of sit down and watch Zach watch it for the first time in preparation for this podcast, because apparently he had never seen it before. I'm surprised I never made him watch it, honestly. But it was just fun to watch his reactions to things and things that I've watched numerous times over the past however many years since it's come out. But it's just good every time. I don't know what it is about it. I know that you guys do movies every week. I wish I had a better clear-cut explanation for why I like it so much. It's just a good storyline. Mole's entertaining every time. I don't know. It's just underrated. It's just a good movie.
I could not agree more.
What would you give it out of 12?
Out of 12.
Out of 12.
12 being the highest, I assume.
Well, so like we'll usually go to like 10, but then if something is just like out of this world, blew you away, changed your life, it's a 12.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say a 12.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say that because, as I'm sure you've discussed, and as Zach looked up when we were watching it, it came out in 2001. It's been years and years since this came out, and I've liked it since day one. There's not a lot of movies I'm willing to sit down and watch time and time again. This is one of them. To just happen to walk by when Zach was like, all right, I got to prep for the podcast, and see Atlantis, and me be like, whoa, you're watching Atlantis? I love Atlantis. And Zach's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't understand. This is one of the most underrated Disney movies of all time.
It's definitely, acquired its own like cult following over the years.
Yeah.
It has its fans for sure.
I agree. It was myself and a couple friends in college that were like, listen, this movie. And the other one that we would die on the hill on is Anastasia, which I don't think is technically Disney, but whatever.
It is now.
Is it?
It is now, because Disney bought 20th Century Fox.
There you go. See? There you go. That's
Wow.
another one I will die on the hill on. But no, this is, I don't know. It's been good for years and years. My opinion of it has never changed. It breaks my heart every time they set off on the expedition and Whitmore crosses his fingers behind his back, and I'm like, God damn it.
Wait, did you point that out to Zach? Or did he point it out to you?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but I pointed it out to him.
Oh, my word!
To be fair, he was taking notes. He was taking notes, so I made sure. I'm like, did you see that? And he's like, what? Did he cross his fingers behind his back? I said, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I had never noticed that all the years I watched it.
Oh, see, that's when you know. That's when you know something's going to go down.
Interesting.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere. Stormy night. Helga shows up, and she's like, "You got to talk to my employer." Wouldn't you be like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, that's true.
Why is he coming out of nowhere with a bunch of money?
You're a single,
in 1914.
You're a single dude working in the boiler room all the time. Somebody like Helga shows up. She's like, "You got to come with me." He's like,
"That's true.
I'll talk to anybody for you. All right, let's do this." You're like, "I'm going to send you on an expedition." You're like, "Damn it, what? This isn't at all what I was expecting."
That's fair. That's fair. A guy with a Persian cat. And this woman just shows up. You guys listen.
That's like the thing, right? If you're a bad guy, you've got a cat. Like what's that?
But Milo has
Inspector
the cat.
Gadget?
He's not the bad guy.
Oh, he's got the Persian cat? Oh.
Yeah. Milo says, "What about my cat?" And Whitmore's like,
right.
"Got it covered." And the cat shows up on his shoulder. Yeah.
That's right.
Whitmore has the giant fish tank.
And I don't know if Zach said this before, but Zach made the excellent point that those fish were coelacanth.
Yeah, from Animal Crossing.
From Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I noticed that too. I was like, dude, it's not raining. You can't be catching those right now.
Zach's like,
well, you know why they use those, right? Because those are the ones that they had thought were extinct, and then they found them in like the 50s.
But the movie's set in 1914.
Right. So it's hinting that Whitmore knows more than he's letting on.
Tricky. I would never have known that.
What did they say?
That coelacanths were thought to be extinct. So Whitmore knew more than what he was letting on. Zach says.
Zach's not impressed. Yeah, he's not really impressed by it. He's like, whatever, guys. So dang, I mean, a 12 out of 12.
I know that's a bold move, but it's never lost its touch over the years for me.
Well, that's good.
We're killing your curve tonight.
Sorry. Zach's a big sit down and watch a movie again and again. I'm not like that as much. So for me, if it's something that I'm willing to watch again and again, it comes with a high score for me.
What'd you give it?
12.
What? You gave it a 12?
Yeah.
Oh.
What? What did you give it?
I haven't gone yet.
Oh, he hasn't gone yet. Okay.
That might be my favorite podcast moment that we've had so far.
The husband and wife. What?
Yeah. Holy shit. Are you out of your mind? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Man.
They have their first big fight as a couple.
Yeah. You kidding me?
Over Atlantis.
12? Yeah.
Empire. Over Milo Thatcher. And his Persian cat.
Craziness. Crazy stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Jamie, you want to dive in here?
Yeah, I can jump in. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna reel it back, get it back into that
Thanks,
subversion
Carly.
zone.
Of course.
I'm gonna do a.
All right.
I'm gonna do a 5. I think I'm gonna come right in the middle.
Who's going?
Oh,
You're doing
girl
a
time.
5?
It was girl time. We've got podcast, girls time. Thanks, Carly. Bye-bye.
So I'm gonna come in right at the middle. I'm gonna do a 5. I think I like the animation actually. I thought it looked really interesting, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the character. I like Milo, and I like Kita. I like that aspect of it. I just think it could have done a little bit better with. It had a lot of characters for a short amount of time. Didn't really get to do much with a whole bunch of them. They kind of just, had a couple scenes. Like think about the old lady. Basically all we saw, she smoked, and then she took some pictures, but that was kind of it. You don't really get to know many of the people. Even Kita, what did we really learn about her so much? Milo is really the only one where you dive into his backstory and that kind of stuff to a great extent. I guess you did get the flower shop guy, the demolition guy, and you got the teenager. They both had some backstory, but
And
then
Dr. Sweet.
oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, Dr. Sweet had actually an interesting backstory. Yeah. Anyways, but the plot. I mean, I do think it kind of lacked a little bit. It had to have all this forward momentum, and as you say, it was always things were happening. Like you never really lacked for action, but because it needed so much forward momentum, to get all the way through the storyline in an hour and 30 minutes, it did feel at some points where you're just like sitting there being like, I don't get what's happening, because people were. It almost seemed like it was an automated, like you had to move from A to B, and you lost a little bit of why things were going from A to B. But they didn't have time to explain it or give an adequate way of explaining it. So I did feel like it was kind of like middle of the road in that way. You didn't get a lot of stuff. I don't know, I'm a sucker a little bit for Disney ones with songs. It was a little jarring. I was waiting for everything. Okay, let's say, because I probably saw this one when it came out, but I hadn't seen it since it came out. And I was waiting. I was like, okay, what are these songs going to be? Let's wait for them to chime in. And I got a little bit into it. I was like, it's not a musical. And you look and it's like, no, it was not. I don't know how many Disney non-musicals were there in the end.
A handful. More than you would think.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was just waiting for it because, you think of the ones that were coming out around that time. You got your Beauty and the Beast, and you got your Hunchback, and they have these great musical numbers and all this stuff, and this one didn't have anything, not a single song, really, until the end credits where a song chimed in, an original song chimed in. But yeah, that's what I'm going to come in, middle of the road.
5.
All
right, fair enough. Who wants to go next? Brom, you've been super quiet all night, man. You want to go?
Sorry, I was helping Zach make some Zach facts, and then
Hey, don't
whoa.
Oh, sorry. I was drinking. So I'm actually this is fitting. I can go after Jamie here because I'm going to also arrive at the same spot. I'm not a huge Disney guy. Anybody that knows me knows that's one of my biggest cons or negatives is my aversion to Disney. I just never really got into cartoons and Disney growing up. And really, I watched 3 or 4 Disney animated films out of they're over 100 now, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I've seen The Lion King, and it seems like that's the one that everyone, like, if you're going to only watch one, watch The Lion King. But this obviously wasn't as good as The Lion King. Trying to find my meter here for what I can compare it against. But, I mean, it was competent. I don't know how often you expect a Disney movie to be bad. There's probably very few and far between that you have a bad animated Disney film. This seemed like a fine film, but I could see why it would be relegated to, having a cult following as opposed to being a true Disney classic. Had obviously a fun premise, exciting premise, and capturing the mythology around this lost city of Atlantis. And I thought it was pretty fun and what it did with the mythos, and the action scenes were pretty cool. I did really like the climactic final battle with the Zeppelin or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 5 as well. Again, I was surprised with no music scene. I always assume that every Disney is going to have a little bit of a musical number here and there. But this was just a true action flick, which I feel like would appeal to the young boy in me back when I would have been 11 when this came out. But I don't know if I would have latched onto it as a child or not. But as an adult, seemed competent. And as it being competent, I'm just going to meet in the middle of the road with a 5.
I'm jumping in.
All right, you jump in.
What did my wife give it?
A 12.
12. It's crazy town.
Dude,
Crazy.
You chose her, man.
She was passionate about it too.
I know. I was downstairs getting a water. I'm just like, she's still going. She's still preaching. Atlantis The Lost Empire, that hidden Disney gem. So I'm a toss-up whether or not I'm like a Disney fan. Like I watched animated movies growing up. I love animated movies, but I never really cared if it was a Disney movie. And I sure as shit never liked hearing music, like songs, like singing in the Disney movies growing up. I remember that as a kid. I was always thinking like, oh no, another one of these songs. Like I loved American Tail, right? Land Before Time, like Rescuers Down Under, The Rescuers, amazing movies. Disney ones, I mean, the first one I really remember, probably Lion King. I mean, that's like the one that really stood out. Anything else before that was Disney, I would have known if it was Disney or not Disney. That's the thing.
I probably watched that 100 times and just didn't need to watch anything else.
Yeah, right. So I never saw this movie. This is today, the day of filming is the first time I've ever seen Atlantis, The Lost Empire. And I don't know what to expect. I was not expecting to get blown away, that's for sure. But I think my expectations were lower than what I really thought of it, because I knew it was like in the weird transition time. Like it wasn't early 90s animation, which is like a distinct look, but it wasn't 2010 plus animation. So when I started watching this, I was like, this animation is like crazy looking, but like in a good way. Like it just looked like there was a scene in the movie where like they panned the camera around so it looked 3D, but it wasn't 3D. But then like the background was still static. It was something else, but I was into it. Like it was good. Some notes that I pulled out, like we talked about, the beginning was Crazy Town. Mr. Whitmore. So there's adult humor, as a lot of Disney movies have. Like at the beginning, I made a note of Mr. Whitmore going upside down and his robe dropped. Did you mention this?
No, that's a good point though. He
flipped upside down. His robe went over his head, meaning his. What's another word for a penis?
Dong.
Schlong.
His dong and berries would have been presented to Milo there.
There's a lot of nudity or implied nudity in this movie, actually, because they make a joke about Packard sleepwalking too.
Oh my God, that was funny. Dude, you're going to need this. There was that.
The mask.
Yeah. Sleeping mask.
So I wrote that down, and 11 minutes in, we get the submarine, which, come on, guys. This submarine is probably like one of the most kick-ass submarines we've ever seen. Like,
I love the design.
But it looked so sweet with that sweet, like, orange glass in the front, and it just, how big it was. It was awesome. I talked about crossing the fingers. Then there was a really stupid joke. I don't know. There was a point where it said, tell Cookie to bring out. Oh, yeah. It's when the Leviathan was attacking him. And that stupid, the main bad guy, what's his name? Not Whitmore.
O'Rourke.
Said, tell Cookie to bring out the butter and the bibs. Like, they're about to die by the Leviathan. That was stupid.
That's just good, right? He's like, I'm going to ride this to my grave, man. He's like, I hate that dude's cooking so much, yet I still hire this dude to come with me on every expedition.
Yeah, like makes a crustacean joke like right before he's about to die. It's like, what are you doing? And then there was a funny scene. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but like when the submersibles are shooting out of the submarine when it's going down.
Yeah.
These launch out of the asshole of the submarine. Right?
There's like 100 of them, man.
Yeah, like it was just, you know.
When I was a kid, I had a die-cast miniature of one of those like mini subs. That thing was awesome. It was like real heavy and like really detailed. I wish I still had that, but yeah, it was like it's like the perfect weird size.
Wait for what?
Don't worry about it.
What was that? Hugh Grant? Not Hugh Grant. What am I thinking of?
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere. What is it? Richard Gere?
Yeah. Was that the gerbil thing?
Yeah, that's the gerbil.
Oh, okay.
But then the one lady that was always smoking, which apparently they took those scenes out of the movie when it was televised, but she made that one line where she sleeps in the nude. Did you catch that?
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah. That's a good one. And then I liked how there was the one moment where the crew was bonding by the fire, right? And I thought that was meaningful. Even though it sounds stupid to say, but it did, like it was like, you know, emotional, because I was like, this is like that scene that you'd seen in a lot of our other submarine movies. This is like when the crew's together, they're having that moment that bonds them, which directly relates to the end of the movie where they all go against Rourke and side with Milo and doing the right thing to not murder an entire civilization of people. So I like that. I like that a lot. So overall, animation is really unique, but I was into it. between that 90s and 2010 time period. I thought the characters looked good. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wrote down. So, but the one part at the end I wrote down, the sci-fi animation of her getting absorbed in, and when they started spinning those runes. I don't know if any of you guys ever saw the movie Annihilation, but it reminded me of that at the end. Like when all the crazy shit's going on and the screen's bright and it's just the deep bass. Like they didn't have the kick-ass music in this movie, but it just reminded me of that. Like they didn't speed it up to get to the next funny animated character joke. I mean, they give you like a solid 20 or 30 seconds of just visualizing what's going on. I thought it was awesome. So I really did like this. For an animated film that I'd never saw before, I liked it. Not a ton of submarine action. So my initial gut feeling was a 9. No joke. But because there wasn't a ton of submarine action, I'll give it an 8.
Okay, wow. Coming in there, meeting Nick. Wow, this is getting some really high ratings. I don't know if I gotta just tank to bring this back to Earth or what, but I'll bring
very
it to rear
disparate ratings, as Jamie would say.
Zach, much like you, I had not seen this movie until we were watching it for the podcast. So there was a very specific time for me in my life when I quit watching animated movies, and I remember it like clear as day. It was year 2000. I was in fifth grade maybe, and my dad was like, "Do you want to go see Gladiator?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to see Gladiator." So we went in theaters, and I went and saw Gladiator, and that was like year 2000. And then when I see Russell Crowe chopping dudes' heads off with swords and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going back to animated movies. That's just the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, and the sky's the limit now. So I hadn't seen.
So what was the last animated movie you saw before that?
Probably was a movie came out the same year, and I think my parents had. I don't know if it came out before or after or whatever, but they had bought it. I did not see it in theaters, but it was like Emperor's New Groove. That
I like that one.
Carly loved that movie.
Yeah,
that
really
when
like
it
that
came out.
That's another very underrated Disney.
Yeah.
That
That's
one's really
short.
funny.
It's like what, 70 minutes or something?
Yeah, it's really short.
But other than that, I mean, I'm trying to remember. When did Toy Story come out? That was probably early 90s, right?
95.
Earlier.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, it was all right. Titan AE was another one I liked, but I think that was that 99 or something. So that was one.
Are you sure it was Titan AE? It wasn't Titan AF.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Titan AF, bro. Anyways, so I have not seen many animated movies honestly since then. I think the next one I saw was Wreck-It Ralph or something, when somebody's like, "You got to watch this," and I was like, "Okay, I'll check this out." And so we're talking a 12 or 13 year span or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
that's a ways.
Yeah, it is. And Zach, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're talking about the animation. Your animation, well, a lot of times is like dark and stuff. The submarines and the mechanical underwater monsters were amazing looking. That really reminded me of what I really liked about Titan AE. And the opening scene blew me away also. I was like, what the hell is going on here? It's because that nuclear blast happened and everything. And I did like the character development we did get along the way. It is something that we get to, you don't necessarily get in a lot of the singing movies and all that. You're like, oh, well, they sang a couple songs, so I guess I like them now. And I did get kind of lost, I guess, after... What the heck is his name? After Rourke came out guns blazing and shit just hit the fan. And we were talking about nobody could figure out what on earth was happening with Keita. They put her in that box. I was kind of lost at that point. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on right now. And so you're just sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, I mean, visually this stuff's pretty cool. The lava's looking good and all that stuff. So, but I didn't really understand what was going on necessarily. And, oh man, I don't know. This is my favorite animated movie? No. This is the worst thing I've ever seen? No, because I've seen Subferatu. So definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna come in. Oh man, what do I want? I'm gonna go with a 6 on it.
I think I had a very similar experience to you, Kyle. I discovered, I was watching Toy Story and Lion King on like repeat every night.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Ace Ventura and
so good.
Billy Madison, and just never went back.
That's the transition.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like I think I mentioned before, this is post Disney Renaissance. They were trying something different, right? I don't want to step on anyone's trivia toes, but I think part of the idea was, at least among the crew that was working on Atlantis, I think they actually had T-shirts made that said "Atlantis, less music, more explosions."
Oh, really?
That was like their whole thing, and the idea was like, because if you go to Disneyland, the park is divided up into different lands. There's like Adventureland and Tomorrowland, Fantasyland. And up until that point, most Disney movies were Fantasyland because they were princesses and all. So the idea was they were trying to make an Adventureland movie.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like I specifically liked how I was like, oh, there's no stupid cartoon character singing in this movie. I like that. Like,
I wonder if that is why you end up getting a feeling that you don't necessarily get to know the characters as well. The songs, in some ways, are basically like, "This is how I'm feeling about this," and like kind of telling people about like their feelings. Whereas when you have an action adventure one, all you get is the action as part of it. Like an action is not telling you anything about a person or even really about
other
the
than the fact
storyline.
they want to survive.
Right, exactly. Whereas the songs are like, I'm in love with you, and now they have to figure out some way of like conveying that.
like if Rourke sang a song about being prepared for this, it would have been the entire movie. Be prepared.
That's true.
That would have been good. I also really like the characters. Like I thought we had
Was that a Mulan reference?
good crew. Yeah, let's get down to business. Time to defeat the Huns. That might have been the last one. When did that come out?
97.
97?
Yeah, 97.
I doubt there was. I
Never
doubt I
saw
didn't
it.
go without watching movies for 3 years. That seems unrealistic. Gosh, I don't even know. Anyways, you got something? You got something, Zach? Zach, get excited because you've been asking me for a really long time.
Are you serious?
And us having guests on, I was like, it's time to do something with my life here. So here we go.
Yes. I love it. No. I hate it.
It's really simple, but I think you would enjoy it.
That's great.
Hey man, anything's better than nothing, and I liked it. I liked it. Or did I hate it? I don't know.
Oh!
Okay, everybody, we've got some love it, hate it for this wild animated film by Disney. What do we want to hear first?
Love it.
We've heard a lot of love, so we need to end on a hate. You know, get that negativity just ratcheted up. You know what I'm saying?
So hate it?
End on a low
No, you
note.
end on
No,
hate
love it. Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I do. Love it.
So love it first.
Sure.
Okay. So there's a lot of love for this movie. A lot of love. I could have picked 1,000 different 10 out of 10s, but I picked this 10 out of 10 that was short and sweet by
With broken
our-
English, I'm sure.
What's that?
With broken
DVD
English.
Chris Kirk 2466.
9.
What did he say? What?
Okay, come on. Chris Kirk 24660. He made this review 10 out of 10 February 2020, right before lockdown. He's watching Atlantis. One of the most underrated films of all time. This movie will simply leave you on the edge of your seat throughout. I had never even heard of this movie until recently. 10 out of 10.
Wow. Amazing.
And that was one of a lot on IMDb.
Dang. So you probably had a little. You probably had a hard time finding some hated stuff here, huh?
Well, there's some hate.
Ooh.
When there's love, there's hate. So, our hate it. Now, when did this movie come out? 2001.
Yeah.
Do we know the date? Do we know the exact day?
Summer, I believe.
What do you think? This came out like a day after they saw it. Somebody went on like this new thing called the internet and was like, "I'm gonna just hate this thing."
You say that, Kyle,
June,
but
June 15th.
no.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Magnum PI, June 16th, 2001. Had this to say. I'm reading this word for word. One of Disney's best animation flicks yet. Maybe it's just me, but I could not fail to notice the political undertones.
Oh,
Capitalism, bad. Military, bad. Guns, very, very bad. Mysterious blue lightning bolts that kill. Okay. Too bad Disney. Too bad Disney couldn't have George W. Bush or Rush Limbaugh.
oh, topical.
Right?
Oh, rest in peace.
As the voice of the bad guy. James Garner must have been the third choice. 1 out of 10.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
I am
Day
blown
after it
away.
came out.
I am.
I kind of feel bad for that guy. I don't know.
I guess I
Or
missed a
girl.
lot here. You know.
I don't know. It seems odd to watch a movie like Atlantis and then spend the whole time being like stewing the political undertones of this animated film I'm watching.
Who wrote that? Was that
That
John
was back in
Barry?
a time when that really wasn't that popular to do. Like, imagine what this
Right.
guy's going through now.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Nick?
Was that John Barron that wrote that?
Right.
Keith Olbermann.
Magnum PI, June 16th, the day after the movie came out. Took to the
Wow.
internet.
Man.
Oddly enough, 2001 is when I made my Amazon account. That's
Really?
That's how long I've been an Amazon member.
Dang.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's crazy.
What'd you buy from Amazon in 2001? Just books?
You know, that's a great question. Let me check.
You gotta check your orders.
Look at history.
Let me see what my earliest order was.
Is this our new segment? Guess what Zach bought in like this month of this year?
I mean, literally, I pull up my Amazon history, and it's every year from 2001 till now. So
Wow.
2001 I had 2 orders.
Oh.
Oh, I had June 6th of
Whoa.
2001 before this movie came out.
Atlantis poster.
The PlayStation video game. Does anybody want to guess?
Twisted Metal 2.
PlayStation 1 video game?
Yeah.
Cool Borders.
Nope.
I'm gonna go with like an Army Men. What were those called? No, that's not it. Okay.
Little Final Fantasy? Little Final Fantasy
No,
7?
I've never been a big Final Fantasy fan.
Mhm.
Snake.
Oh, Metal Gear
solid.
Solid.
Solid was my first ever purchase on Amazon. Funny enough, my second purchase, December 14th of 2001, was the Metal Gear Solid 2 action figures of Solid Snake, Revolver Ocelot, and Top Secret #1, which turned out to be Solidus. So,
Yeah, okay, the first one's like, oh, actually, really not embarrassing first purchase on Amazon. Who would have expected that from young Zachary? But then you follow it up with some action figures. That's okay. That makes more sense.
Well, it just shows you enjoyed the game.
That's
Love
true.
I have a lot of good memories of Metal Gear Solid.
It's a great
Can we
game,
get
man. I'm
this
hoping
right?
we get an HD remaster of that thing at some point. But
They did it, dude, on GameCube.
well, yeah, but I'm talking like what they've done for Final Fantasy on
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation. They do that for Metal Gear Solid. Something like over the top, and we're just like, wow, that was amazing.
My earliest
Dude,
purchase on Amazon was 2008.
Would you get
Not the same. Not the
Fucking
same.
college textbook. It sucks.
Dude, lame.
Embarrassing.
sauce.
Look at that
Lame
embarrassing
as
purchase.
You You know what's weird though is that I was born in '88. So what was I 13 when I made?
Yeah.
I know. So I'm like, how'd you even
what I'm saying.
get that account? Brom,
That's what I'm saying.
You also.
A 13-year-old on Amazon, you should have a much more embarrassing first thing you bought, but you don't.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Okay, let's get some trivia, I think, right?
Yeah. Now, Nick, you took care of trivia tonight, right? Or Jamie, you got some stuff?
I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. Nick's got it.
I didn't do a thing.
Oh snap! Oh no, I thought Jamie still had it. Hold on.
No.
No.
I can
This is
take care
all
of
on
it.
you.
I
I can take care of it.
The only thing I did notice that was a little trivia was that apparently Milo, the face, like the way that they drew Milo, was based on the linguists they used to make the Atlantean language, who was the same guy who invented Klingon.
Yep. That was going to be one of my off the top of my head trivia. Yeah. We'll talk about going overboard for a Disney animated movie. Like, this man invented an entire language.
Bring him on.
He invented like an alphabet too. Like, it's like really involved. You can like go online. I think like Duolingo, you can like learn some Atlantean.
Really?
Yeah, like there's people online who are like super fans of this movie that like study and write Atlantean.
Dude, get ready for the cancel culture to hit this podcast when they hear about 6s and 5s. My God, we got people learning Atlantean. Like,
I know.
We're toast. See you guys. It's been a wild ride.
I mean, that tells you about the peak of Disney Renaissance, though, when they were like, "We're making an animated film. We're hiring this guy. He's inventing an entire goddamn language." It's like, got money to burn? What's going on here?
Well, this was kind of this was like the transition period too, right? Like, I think the end of the Disney Renaissance is considered the Emperor's New Groove, actually.
Yeah, it was a big flop.
Yeah, which is weird because this is not Emperor's New Groove cast, but Kyle, I don't know if you saw, I shared a link on, I think it was Twitter and Facebook a few weeks ago, just about the backstory behind Emperor's New Groove. And as good as that movie is, the story behind the making of it is incredibly fascinating. Like, they essentially made 2 full movies and then decided which one to go with. And they went with Emperor's New Groove instead of a completely different one that had like Owen Wilson in it, and it was a musical, and Sting wrote all the music for it. Yeah, it was like this whole thing.
Seriously?
Nick, did they like make a documentary about this? Like, or was that like an article you?
So here's the other thing. There is a documentary about it, because the way they got Sting to sign on, because this was after Phil Collins did Tarzan and Elton John did The Lion King. So they got Sting to sign on, and his wife was like getting really into making documentaries at the time. They said, "Sweet, you sign on, your wife can make a documentary about this." So she started making this documentary, and it was like this really labored production, and they almost got shut down at one point. And like I said, they essentially they fired like half the people and had to make a whole other movie. So then she came out with this documentary. I think she showed it at Cannes one year or something, and people loved it, but it like embarrassed the Disney studios. So it just does, like, you cannot find the documentary. Like, every now and then it'll show up like on like some sort of BitTorrent site or something, and you can like download parts of it, and you can hear like some of the songs they recorded. But yeah, it's called The Sweat Box is the documentary, and the documentary, like the whole story behind it is like incredibly fascinating. If you get a chance, just Google it. Yeah, originally the movie was called The Kingdom of the Sun. It had a whole different backstory. It was about Incan mythology, and yeah, and like I said, Owen Wilson was in it, and it was like a Prince and the Pauper story. Like Owen Wilson and David Spade trade places, and yeah, it's crazy.
That's out of control, man. I never even knew that.
Yeah, if you get a chance, Google it. Anyways, back to Atlantis trivia. So the technique, a few of you mentioned, I think, how like it was like a blend of CGI and animation. That technique they actually invented for Tarzan. That's called deep canvas, and they actually won a special Oscar for it that year with Tarzan because it was a huge technological achievement. But it was a way that they computer animated a background, and you were able to put hand-drawn animation into it, and the computer would remember where your character is relative to the computer animation behind it, and it would move with it. And they developed it specifically. Yeah.
We had a technical issue. Zach looks like he dropped out, so bear with us here. It's a little wild. Keep going, Nick.
Keep doing the trivia.
This is for the stream.
I appreciate that. So in an earlier version of the movie, and this is one of those things, like we talked about, like the movie, for as much as it is in it, it's actually relatively short. So, I mean, even now looking back at it, I can tell there's a lot of deleted scenes. And there was initially a completely different opening about a bunch of Vikings in Iceland finding the journal and coming across the journal and be like, oh, we're going to find Atlantis. And then the Leviathan like killed them. And then that was the opening of the movie. And they were like, Disney was like, maybe we should like show the Atlanteans instead of like Vikings that we don't know anything about and then we're not going to see ever again. Yeah, have nothing to do with anything. But yeah, like there's a bunch of like really weird like threads that they initially had planned. They just never went anywhere. Like originally Milo Thatch was supposed to be, I think his last name was supposed to be Milo Teach, and he was supposed to be a descendant of Blackbeard for some reason. No clue why. Just an added character.
Probably that adventure thing. They were trying to do more adventure stuff, so then they're like Blackbeard, but it doesn't make any sense with the story, really.
Yeah, something like that. It's one of the few Disney films that takes place in an actual specified year. When the surface dwellers meet the Atlanteans, they address them in French, Spanish, Italian, Hebrew, German, Greek, Chinese, and Taiwanese. And Milo speaks to them in Atlantean, Latin, and French.
When do you think, just to go back to the previous one, when do you think Lion King was set?
That's a good question. Well, there's actually
before
there's
Mankind.
some theories. There's some theories that like Disney movies are interconnected.
Oh,
so like there's
set like in the 1800s or something.
Yeah, I don't think they specify, but there's one theory that have you guys seen Frozen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Frozen. I don't know who hasn't seen Frozen, but you know the part where their parents die or they get shipwrecked. There's a fan theory out there that their parents are Tarzan's parents, and they get shipwrecked in Africa.
Oh, okay.
And Anna and Elsa are Tarzan's long lost sisters. Oh, another trivia: this is I know it doesn't have a whole lot of sub action, but the sub action it gives us is pretty solid sub action. I would argue. It gives us an actual dive line. 5 degrees down bubble, and a little bit of trivia. This is one of my favorite pieces. So that those same exact lines, that voice, literally that recording, is from an old Disneyland ride. There's a submarine ride at Disneyland, and that was part of the opening sequence of the ride. You get on the ride, and they tell you to dive. And there's a lot of homages in this movie to the submarine ride at Disneyland, and a lot of them to 20,000 Leagues. Just the design of the subs and stuff like that. It's very steampunk. That's all I got. You want to move on to our next segment?
I think that probably makes some sense. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see anything else that was huge. I think this was before the Oscars had an animated section, so no nominations that way, that direction, and otherwise, nothing to. Other than to say that, I mean, I guess that it was kind of not. Was this one successful? This was successful, more successful than Emperor's New Groove, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was as successful as they wanted it to be. Because it was like, I mean, it was supposed to be like the opening summer blockbuster, but I think the problem is they, much like a lot of the reviews we've received, I don't think people knew what to expect. Right. I think the people that went into it expecting a Disney musical weren't happy, and who wanted to see a summer action blockbuster weren't going to a Disney animated movie. So,
so I can go into my short section. I'll keep it short today. So, little Phantom Zone.
All right, let's nail it.
Engage the Phantom. Engage the Phantom.
Phantoms engaged, sir. Phantoms engaged, sir.
Yeah, so this was, I would have actually been in a little spot of trouble if it hadn't been for our main bad guy, Rourke, played by James Gardner, who was in a previous submersion film, Up Periscope, where he was the main character. And so I may have even used this to go through it. I doubt it, just because it seems like a pretty solid dead end. Most of the side actors are voice actors through and through. They don't really have too many, other movies other than their voice actors, other than, you have Michael J. Fox at the top, and then James Gardner, and then some of the kind of notable voices like Jim Varney and stuff like that. I was going to say, in a very, very early episode of Subversion, maybe even the first episode of Subversion, I make the joke that Beverly Hillbillies is a sub movie because at a certain point, one of the characters orders a 6-foot submarine sandwich, and Jim Varney's in that movie. So that's kind of like an interesting
you could have, man.
little trivia. Other than that, like Ed Harris was not. I mean, the only involvement really is that it's notable that he is an advisor for Disney and he watches all the movies before it comes out. He was actually the one who made the decision on Emperor's New Groove on which one to go with. That was Ed Harris in the room at the time. The only feedback for this one is they had a whole scene with the captain of the submarine, if you know what I mean, wink, wink. And he said, like, no go, don't have that for this one. Really? And they were like, really? I mean, even though, we have the mechanic, we have fire, we have, there was a wrench at one point, and he was like, he was basically like, not that part of submarines. And they were like, okay, Ed Harris, good to go.
Not Disney, not Disney approved, huh?
No. Yeah, and the very last thing, I'm not even going to do J Archive this time. Gonna do nothing. Last thing is, did anyone else get the feeling that this could be a good plot for a Kyle type movie where you come home after a long day at work, you're just like working away, toiling away, and there's a beautiful lady in your house who's basically like, come see my employer. You go there, and they're basically like, we found an ancient podcast. No one understands it. We have no idea what it means. But it's about submarines, which seems confusing, and we need you to guide us using it. And in the thing, you're like listening to the podcast, deciphering all the different things. You're like, no. They're like, oh, we don't understand. Are we actually looking for a dick here? And you're like, no. It's actually like a hypothetical dick. It's like a symbolism. And they're like, what, symbolism? And it's because you know all of the podcast tropes that you're able to guide them to treasure. What do you think?
I think it would be excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that many others would watch it.
No,
but
probably not.
I think that would be like my rise to stardom right there.
I'm gonna just jump in just because I'm restarting Audacity, to help you, Kyle. So,
all right.
I don't know what happened. Sorry, everybody.
No, you're all right, man. You're back. You're good. So
it's weird. Like the only reason this is working is because I'm on my VPN now. Like I could not get Discord to work until I started my VPN. So I have no idea why.
Well, we are a extremely secure podcast. Our channel is got security to boot. It's unreal. So you got a VPN in. That's why we have so many technical issues.
It's so weird. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Sorry.
And don't worry. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for my segments.
That's good stuff. We have a big segment coming up that's going to be really great, and so I didn't want to bog anybody down and talk about Atlantis or how it was found or how I know exactly where it is and how I know how to decode stuff and all that type of stuff, and how I'm currently securing financing for getting my own submarine shaped like myself so that I can like plumb it down because I have the body of a whale so that I can swim really well and all that type of stuff. So I did just want to talk about a news article that was sent to us by a fan. We really appreciate it. On Instagram. I don't know if I have permission to use his name or not, so I'm not going to do that, but I just want to say thank you so much. And this article is really great. It blew me away. I didn't know this was going on. So the article is written by David Choi from February 11th, 2011 on Business Insider, titled UK Royal Navy is investigating a sailor who is alleged to have produced adult content on OnlyFans. So this is some wild stuff. Over in the UK, there is a user on the site OnlyFans, which people aren't familiar. I think it's just amateur people selling naked photos and videos of themselves doing things.
Artists, Kyle.
Artists. Sorry, not amateurs. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect. Nothing like that. So Callie on OnlyFans is, and I found the account. You can't see anything because you got to pay, and I'm not about to pay for any of this stuff. But they were allegedly, a lot of these things were filmed at Her Majesty's Naval Base Clyde, the hub of England's submarines. And there is a lot of, based on the descriptions, things are extremely graphic. Apparently, it is. She put out this statement on her site. Says, recently just been ordered not to post or send reply to any messages at all while their work investigation is conducted. Please enjoy the X-rated content that is already on the page, and hopefully we can post more soon. So, I don't know if there's anything on a sub, anything off a sub. If you can see a sub, I don't know. But
do we have to review it if we can see some?
yeah, I guess if we can do that, yeah. And people may be wondering where Alex is. We sent him undercover. He's in the video. But yeah. So I know it's
taking one for the team, right?
He is. He's doing what he has to do. So if you're wondering who's in him, that's who it is. And this isn't the only person I found, because like after this investigation has been going on, like they pumped out another article. They're like, there's another British sailor doing it. So it's wild.
They need to
stuff.
pay their sailors better.
I guess, man. I guess. So that's what's going on over in the UK. Things are getting a little rowdy, and people are getting in trouble for it. I don't know what kind of standards or like rules and regs they have in the Royal Navy that's allowed. I don't know if that's specifically covered. I have no idea. Like, could Ron Jeremy be a sailor? I don't know. Maybe. We hope.
Is he in jail?
What? Seriously? He's in
He's
jail?
on trial right now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been like
What?
hella accused for all sorts of sexual assault.
Oh, great. Well,
we have a picture with that.
yeah, we have a picture
Like-
with that guy.
like Bill Cosby levels.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I guess this shouldn't be surprising, right? I mean, I shouldn't be like shocked. So I guess,
Might want to burn that picture, Kyle.
yeah, I know. Nobody looked for that.
Take that out. Take that.
Maybe we'll put
off
that in the
your desk,
Discord
right?
put that up there. But wow, okay. Anyways, that's all I've got. Did not mean to like all of a sudden launch into Ron Jeremy, and didn't know that was going on. So he's
Hey,
just
I'll
a guy we have
transition
a
real
photo
quick.
with. Yeah,
But before we get crazy with the big stuff, I know that's coming.
Yeah.
Tune in, stick around, fans, because it's coming. But before we get there, I got some questions, and I don't know if this is a new segment or not, but this is called Zach Questions. And my first question is this movie exactly how Avatar is? Because I never saw it.
No.
one and the same.
So I had two
is-
polar opposite answers right there.
Yeah,
It's similar, but not, if you know what I mean.
It's more similar than I would want to admit.
Okay.
yeah.
Because I never saw Avatar, so
Dude, like the shark
Yeah, you
jet
gotta-
ski
yeah.
thing is like that winged dragon thing he mends his ponytail with, right? It's been a really long time
true.
since I've seen
No.
Avatar. I can't.
No, Zach, you shouldn't watch it now. You should just wait until all 6 of them come out, and then you.
I was
watch
gonna
them
say
all
like
at
all
once.
the other ones that they keep promising that are gonna come
you
out.
just
that
wait
never
until
do.
they come out.
Yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones. You just don't.
Just
I'm
go
not
to
going to
Disney
watch
World.
the series until all the books come out, and I can read
Well-
the series, and then I can watch the TV show. Right?
Go to Disney World and see the Pandora section. It's fantastic.
George R.R. Martin says he's close on Winds of Winter.
God, I'll
He has
believe
been doing
my-
that for years now.
Yeah.
I'm also
got
close to
he's
finishing
got like
that.
the most work. He's got the most work done on it in like years, he said.
He's had a year of COVID.
Nothing. Yeah.
It's true. It should be
He's
done.
officially out of
It needs to be
excuses.
That's
done.
true.
Apparently there was something like, if I don't have it done by 2020, people can come kill me or something like that.
Yeah, he did do. He said something like that like 4 years ago, and then
Really?
it happened.
Oh my gosh. Well, think about it. Like the TV show's done, so he's not. Well, I guess they got House of the Dragon coming out, but like, and then COVID, whatever. I mean, you got nothing going on. Whatever, man. I don't know. I've never written a book. Maybe I'll just do it and try it.
Zach
Finish
has a
for
couple
him.
more questions.
Okay.
Does this movie hold up? Just yes or no, people.
Yes.
I think yes.
sure.
I mean, we're watching it, what, like 20 years later, and we're all saying it's decent enough?
So what would it take for this movie not to hold up? Like, this is 2001 animated film. What would it take for this not to hold up?
Even more stuff that was a little off color.
The Jim Varney stuff?
It was,
Yeah, I'll say some more mansplaining, some more Confederate jokes, maybe.
yeah, more Confederate jokes for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
not be good.
Okay.
It actually had a pretty diverse cast.
It did.
Last Zach question. Is it okay to say the animated female character is gorgeous?
Which one?
Not Helga.
Kita?
Kita?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's okay.
What do you mean, okay,
Mila?
dude? She's
Wow.
8,000 years old, man. If I had a body
it's
like
okay?
that today, like, my God.
You had a body like that?
Yeah, well, that'd be wild. We'd have... Yeah. No. Yeah,
Let's make sure this podcast holds up in 5 years.
it won't. It's not going to be good.
Okay, I'm good. That's
No
it.
one's
That's
going to
Zach
be able
question.
to listen to the end of it. It's
All
gonna
right.
be 2.5
Are we
hours
to
long.
our brand new special segment?
We want to do it? We want to do it now? You want to do the big one?
What else do we need
special.
to? What else do we need to do before?
Well, you got one. We got
Facts out of
Zach
the way.
facts, allegedly. Those are the facts?
Yeah, we've got. We'll bring up the end with my countdown and the Zach fact.
All right, get ready,
Stay
gang.
tuned, listeners.
Get ready for the Submersion Dreamcast. Nick, can you please just tell us what is going on here?
Sure. So the idea here is, Disney has officially run out of ideas, so they're just making all their movies again in live action. However, my biggest problem with this is that they're making the good ones again. Like no one thought the remake of The Lion King was going to be better than the original Lion King. Like no one thought that was even possible. So what I think Disney needs to do is they need to go back and remake the movies that didn't do well and didn't have a huge following, much like Atlantis. And I think Atlantis is a good candidate for that because, like you said, Brom, it has a very diverse cast. I think it's this movie would be better in live action in a lot of ways. It would be expensive, especially with an enormous cast. But so my thought for this activity is we all recast some of these main characters in a hypothetical upcoming Disney live action remake of Atlantis The Lost Empire.
I'm very excited for this. Spoiler, listeners, you can't see this, but this is the first time I made a PowerPoint in like 10 years, so it took me way longer than I ever thought. I was just like, my God, I haven't made one of these since school.
But if
Which
you are
is
listening and want to see it, you can watch this on Twitch or YouTube, correct?
Yes, you can. Thank you, Brom. I always forget to let people know that they can find us there. Twitch TV, Mackie Studios. Mackie Studios on YouTube. If you're ever looking for this, MackieStudios.com. You know where to find us. Nick, we're going to get all your stuff. If you want to plug anything, whatever, save the whales, save the crabs. You're in Maryland. We can do that too. So I didn't mean to just say where you're at. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
There's more than one person named Nick in Maryland. So.
I'm just
Look at your address at.
Yeah. You want to send Nick fan mail? Yeah, okay. So let's get into this.
One of only 7 Nicks in
Yeah.
Maryland.
Like, oh my God, what have I done? All right. So the first character we are recasting here is Milo Thatch, originally voiced by Michael J. Fox. And I've got these going in the same order that we're going to go the whole time. So it'll go Nick, because you're the special guest, and then it'll go on alphabetical order. I'm sure Brom is going to lay into me about my names not all being in the same line or whatever, but I'm not the graphic guy. You are, so I apologize in advance. So
All right.
if you guys want to explain why you made your pick, you can do that. Or we also have a
Probably
sheet-
shouldn't.
Yeah, there's a lot. We can also talk at the end and
Yeah.
see like who the heck is the Submersion's Dreamcast based on who we're picking here today. So
I would
Nick.
say we should probably just right now just say we thumbs up and thumbs down other people's selections.
all right, here we go. Nick.
For Milo, I cast
Ooh,
Timothy
I thought about
Chalamet.
that, too. Chalamet, I'm pretty sure.
Chalamet? I'm sorry, I've literally never heard his last name pronounced.
There you go.
I considered him as well. I'll give you a thumbs up.
Michael Cera was a close second.
Ooh,
Considered him
that's
too.
a good one. I didn't even think of these guys. I haven't seen Timothée Chalamet in anything, so I have no idea. So
He's good.
I'll give you the middle of the road Gladiator reference there I mentioned earlier. So, all right, Brom, you cast Neil Patrick Harris.
Too old.
Ooh, he is a little old.
I didn't know this was a live action I thought we were recasting voice actors. So.
Nope, this is live.
I did too.
It's all right.
Just wait till you see mine.
Yeah, let's see
blame
Zach's,
Kyle. I blame
man.
Kyle, as always.
You can blame me. It's fine. So, I love NPH, but I agree. I think he's too old for what we're doing here. Although, I mean, granted, if Keita's 8,000 years old, maybe it's not so bad if NPH is 40. Whatever. I don't know. But Jamie, on to you. For Milo Thatch, you said Chris Klein.
Yep, obviously. So I think it goes without saying, but Chris Klein, greatest actor of our generation, and still alive, which was key to being cast as well. So.
Okay. Well,
Thumbs
very
down.
Two thumbs up. I want to see him in something more than American Pie. I want to see more Chris Klein.
He's been in more than just American Pie. Come on.
Jamie references like his movies. He's also in
Here on Earth. Anyone?
He was when We Were Soldiers.
He's in Wilfred, the show with
Oh,
Elijah
he
Wood.
was, and we were soldiers.
Yeah, he was the lieutenant.
Oh, you're right.
All right. I cast
Klein.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a good
Considered
choice.
him as well.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
beautiful man.
Yeah, so that's I
I
was like
considered everybody named so far except Chris Klein.
What?
the wild card.
Garfield's good because he has like that kind of ambiguous age. He's a man child.
He is. And I thought of him in like Hacksaw Ridge. I was like, oh yeah, he looks like he could be a young guy and do this type of stuff.
Along similar lines, I also consider Tom Holland.
Oh, yeah. He could work too. Zach, you said Prince Harry.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? He's not gonna. He's moving. He's going against the grain, and he could do it.
I think he could.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he'd be good. All right. On to the next. Commander Rourke, as voiced by James Garner. Nick, you went with Bruce Willis.
I don't think he does enough these days. I think Bruce Willis needs to get back into action movies.
I agree. I think he'd be good. Brom, you went with it, and I really liked your pick here. I was like, man, how did I even consider him? Patrick Warburton.
He's already got some Disney credentials. He was Kronk in Emperor's New Groove.
And if you look at that picture that I have with the picture of Commander Rourke, it's like, yeah, I could definitely see those.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, you went with Neil McDonough.
His icy blue eyes. He's got the eyes like a husky dog.
That
Yeah, never heard that before, but yeah, he does have the eyes like a husky. So
Yeah. Good boy.
I went with the legend, Ed Harris.
Ooh.
Come on, man.
Seemed too
that was
easy.
my second place, but it seemed a little easy.
Yeah, that is an
It
easy
seemed
one.
like pandering.
Yeah, I based on our show, I had to do it. I was literally shocked that I didn't see this name anywhere else. But Zach, you went with
Boom.
Tim Allen.
Yes. That's the guy.
There you go.
So who do you
That'd be
guys
really
think we're
interesting
gonna
as a villain.
get? You got Tim Allen and Prince Harry.
Come on, this is gonna turn out to be the best movie ever now.
Yeah.
Like this is.
I would-
Imagine Tim Allen.
I would make so much money for a movie with Tim Allen, Chris Klein, and Prince Harry.
It's looking pretty good. All right, on to the next one. Keita, as voiced by Cree Summer. Nick, you went with Zoe Kravitz.
And I said, as a bonus, you could get Lenny Kravitz to play the king.
That would be legit, dude. If he picked up a guitar and was like just shredding it when they rolled up.
Exactly.
When Tim Allen rolls up and he's got a gun and Lenny's just Tim Allen sucker punches Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, Brom, you went with Rosario Dawson. Shoes on my short
Good choice.
list. Jamie, you went with Jessica Biel.
A little Jessica Biel action
Oh,
on there.
whitewashing us, Jamie.
It is a little whitewashing. I agree with that. Although, yeah, I guess I kind of cast this before I watched the movie, so I wasn't really sure.
And then if we're looking for an 8,000-year-old stunner, I went with Scarlett Johansson. And Zach is going to break from form with the rest of us. And Keita will be Danny
Nice. Yeah.
Danny Trejo. Not even trying.
You try, man. Can you imagine that? I mean,
That's gonna change the tone of the whole movie when Tim Allen's the bad guy and Danny Trejo's
The princess.
the princess.
I was putting these slides together, man. I couldn't handle it. Oh, okay, on to the next one. Vinny, as voiced by Don Novello. Nick, you went with Ray Romano.
I'm just a big Ray Romano fan. Can't even lie.
Dude, everybody's got to have their fans, man. You like Ray Romano. I apologize. I'm crying, man. I apologize. I can't handle Danny Trejo.
I love the Ray Romano. I'm going to be honest. I love the Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Brom, I really like your pick here. Jean Reno.
Oh yeah,
That's a good choice.
Godzilla.
Thank you.
Jamie, you went with Sly Stallone.
Classic.
I hope you like that picture. I found that one just for you. It's really good. It's the same pose, so
Exactly.
pretty good. And here, I thought I was going to see a couple duplicates on my guy, Peter Stormare.
Oh, that's a good choice.
That's a good choice.
Got the same kind of mustache in that picture right there. And then Zach. Changing the game, one character at a time.
I'm so excited.
Duchovny. He's not
Duchovny.
he's not too wild, but you've got a couple more wild picks coming your way. So
He can honestly. David could do any role in this movie.
That's true.
You could insert him anywhere.
Vinny
do
did
anything.
just kind of like mumble and whisper his lines. So
Yeah. On to the next character, Dr. Sweet, as voiced by Phil Morris. Nick, you decided to go with this just absolute smoking hot picture of Michael B. Jordan.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good pick too.
Thanks. Took me a while to find that one. So
You didn't have that saved, Kyle?
no, well, it's hanging in my wall, but
you didn't just screenshot your desktop wallpaper.
yeah. Brom, you went with Idris Elba. Jamie went with Terry Crews.
Oh, Terry Crews
That's a good choice.
That's a great choice.
of White Chicks fame.
I went with The Rock.
Yep.
He was on my short list as well.
He's got the same build, you know. And Zach, you went with Seth Rogen. Again, just totally changing the game.
Can you imagine if you're waiting for a doctor and Seth Rogen walks in?
Oh my god,
Man.
you'd be like, what? I'd be like, dude, you want to hit this right now? This blunt? I'd be like, What is
I can see
this?
Seth Rogen in every scene of this movie.
That'd be really
I'm
good.
surprised we haven't duplicated anybody yet. I mean, other than Zach.
We've got a few people coming up. Next character, Helga Sinclair, as voiced by Claudia Christian. Nick, you went with
I'm pretty proud of this one.
Blake Lively. When I saw
Yeah,
that
it's actually
picture,
really
I was
good.
like, yeah, that's a really good pick. Brom, you went with Mia Djokovic.
I considered her.
Another
I
good
considered her
choice.
for it.
Jamie, you went with Kate Hudson.
So my theme is bad movies. She's been in a lot of them, so she doesn't necessarily. I gotta say, Blake Lively. I'm a little jealous of that pick because that makes some sense too.
I mean, look at them; they look very similar. I went with an absolute killer, Charlize Theron. She could play
That
this.
is a killer.
That's a good role.
That's
a
a
good role
killer
for
choice, Kyle.
That's a good one.
And
Love
Zach, again, turning the game on its head. Helga, played by Zac Efron.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that.
That's
Boom.
good.
I'm jealous of that one.
I'm
He
not
can
gonna
do it
lie. I'm not gonna lie. I did think about not this character, but I did think about switching some genders around and some recasting. This is not my choice for that, but I admire it.
When Zach sent his picks in, it reminded me of Zach and Miri with Justin Long, where he's like, it's a reimagining with all male cast. It's like, yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got going on here. Audrey. So Audrey is voiced by Jacqueline Obradors. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Nick went with Isabelle Moner. Is that the right
Dora?
person? That's the only person. That's the only thing I could find where it was like Dora the Explorer. That's the right person, right?
Yeah, that was like her biggest movie. She was like in the live action remake of Dora. She was in the movie Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
She's been in a few things.
Okay.
Oh, she was in the last Transformers. That's what it was. She was in Transformers with also with Marky Mark.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't remember her in there.
For live
That
action,
one
I
also.
would need
That
to
one has
go
a submarine
younger.
in it. That's a submarine movie, right?
Oh, The Last Night. I haven't seen that
Yeah.
one. Maybe that's why I don't remember her.
Last Night's a submarine movie.
All right, Brom. For the teenager, you elected Eva Mendes.
Makes sense.
Solid pick.
Hey, actors do this all the time, where they're like 20 and they play a 13-year-old.
They can like CGI her face like in The Irishman.
There we
Yeah,
go.
he just
Seems like a good use of the budget.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Making Eva Mendes look like a 13-year-old.
Yeah. Jamie, you picked Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Getaway fame.
I went ahead with my pick, Maisie Williams of Game of Thrones fame. Arya.
That's a good choice.
And Zach again,
Flip.
Jonah Hill. Here we go.
Yes.
So
Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen.
Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Prince Harry, Tim Allen. Like, dude, this is an incredible cast.
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Yeah. Unreal. All right, Miss Packard. All right, as voiced by Florence Stanley. Nick, you went with Wanda Sykes.
Ooh, I like that.
A little more diversity. And I can just imagine Wanda yelling at everybody.
Yeah. Dude, and Miss Packard had some great lines, like, we're all going to die down here anyway.
Yeah.
You know, however she said it, like, smoking, like, a whole pack a day.
There's another good line, too, where she's talking to her friend on the phone, and she goes, he took his suitcase? Marge, honey, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah. Brom, you went with Catherine Janeway. I don't watch much Star Trek, so I was like, I hope I'm grabbing the right picture here.
Yeah, I was thinking more a la like Orange is the New Black.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She's good in that.
Yes. Yeah, she's much older now too. She kind of fits the role.
Jamie, you went with Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi. Oh, Whoopi.
That's a good choice too.
Distinctive voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amber, she is. You're right.
And I think I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I got you guys like beat on this pick. My pick is, I love it, and I'm just going to show it to you. You're not going to remember the name. You're not going to know the name, but Sandy Martin or Mac's mom from It's Always Sunny in Philly.
Love her.
That's a good choice.
Yes.
I was like,
That's a good choice.
this is the one.
She's
That's
one of
an
my favorite
awesome
side
pick,
characters.
Kyle.
That's a good pick.
And
Great picture, too.
that was like the only picture I could find where she was by herself. She's got the bow on the head, the cigarette in the hand.
She is like never out of character. If you watch the bloopers, they are so funny when she's like involved in a blooper because she's just like railing on the cast, like every scene, like ad-libbing, and they are always just dying laughing, and she's just stone-faced. It's so funny.
Dude, she's amazing. And Zach again with the pick. Jim Carrey.
Yes. Put some makeup on him, a mask, he'll do it.
Yeah. Dude, just put him as the Grinch in this. We got the Grinch answering phones over there. Like, what? What's going on? Next, Mr. Whitmore, voiced by John Mahoney. Nick, you picked Christopher Walken. Hello,
I just imagine him being a weird rich guy. I will say though, a close second on my list though was Jeff Goldblum.
Is it?
Oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. All right. Brom, you went with Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, that's a good choice too.
Let's make an eccentric rich man. Jamie, you went with John Travolta. I really like that pick.
Obviously, current day.
Yes.
I was like, that's the one. That's a good one. When Nick sent me his picks, I was happily pleased to see that I had also gone with Christopher Walken. And Zach,
Picture.
you went with Nick's second. Jeff Goldblum.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
I wish I had gone with that one now, actually. I'm having a little regret.
Dude, Jeff Goldblum would be really good at it, honestly.
Put him in every movie that's ever been
Yeah.
made.
You know who else would be good? My third choice. This is the only one I have a third choice for, but Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah. He would be good.
Just imagine just as the dude.
As the
preferably.
dude.
Yeah.
That'd be really good.
John Lithgow was my backup.
That's a good
he'd be
choice, too.
Cookie, as voiced by Jim Varney, or Ernest, as many of us know him.
What a picture.
Yeah,
I know, that hair.
Wow.
Dude, I couldn't find the pictures of, like, Ernest, so I was like, well, look at this one. Here we go.
See, Kyle, I guess I don't understand what you mean because you just Google Ernest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how that could be possible.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying that hard. It was after bowling, and I was like, all right, I'm getting tired here. Here's Jim Varney. All right, Nick, you went with Matthew McConaughey.
This might be my favorite. This might be my favorite pick of all, if I'm being honest.
This is a good one.
I believe I have a pretty similar pick, but you'll see when it gets to me.
Brahms' pick was actually mentioned earlier in the episode tonight. Pretty amazing that worked out. Blake Clark. I didn't realize who that was until I saw the picture, but you know, Sean's dad, and he's got the perfect voice.
Yep.
That's what I thought it was, and then when I saw it was, I'm like, oh, easy.
Well, he's-
cast here.
Isn't he the one that took over for Slink in Toy Story after Jim Barney died?
He is.
Yeah, that's what we're just
Yeah,
talking
like
about,
that's they're like best friends or
That's
whatever.
perfect.
Like that's
Jamie, you went with Rob Schneider.
See, this picture doesn't make any sense. You got to go with the later.
you picked the Home Alone 2 picture?
Yeah, I did.
You got to push it.
Dude, I was just looking for the pictures where people look their best. All right, I was like, whatever. Home Alone 2. Here we go. Whatever.
Let's get different person.
Yeah, it honestly does. I can't even remember off the top of my head. I went with Don Knotts, flipping the character on his head. Wanted a little bit of Don in my life. Limpet, as we all know him. And then Zach, the late, great Ian Holmes. Quite a break from form for his normal characters, but I'd like to see him do some stuff. He could have done it. And Mole, as voiced by Corey Burton. Nick, you went with Charlie Day.
Ooh, great choice.
This is a good choice.
I feel like he could play a guy that I don't want to know anything about him.
Very yeah, it's very true. Brom, you went with Andy Serkis, a.k.a. Gollum, Lord of the Rings.
That's
I
a
like
good
that.
choice.
I do like that one because it makes sense for him to be a little motion capture,
Oh, yeah.
little mocap guy.
Jamie, you went with
Our
Danny
boy.
DeVito.
That's good.
And I was also shocked that nobody else picked him, but I also went with Danny DeVito.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Zach, last but not least, Tom Cruise.
Hey, Tropic Thunder. That's all I'm saying.
Dude,
he can do it.
He can do that guy can do anything, all right?
Jack Black was my second for Mole.
Oh,
Ooh,
that'd
that's
be
great.
good. That'd be a really
I'm not sure he would take the role, but,
I think he would.
you know.
Hey, just saying, one of our viewers just said they would pay to go see my all-male live-action.
Wow. All right.
Like Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross.
Yeah. So here's the breakdown of all we've got. So Zach, is the only glowing endorsement that anyone would go pay to see. We have Prince Harry as Milo, Tim Allen as Rourke, Danny Trejo as Keita, David Duchovny as Vinny, Seth Rogen as Dr. Sweet, Zac Efron as Helga, Jonah Hill as Audrey, Jim Carrey as Packard, Jeff Goldblum as Whitmore, Ian Holmes as Cookie, and Tom Cruise as Mole. So
I would pay a lot of money to see that movie.
yeah. So there it is. That's our Dreamcast. Not to be confused with the Sega Dreamcast, but who we hope and pray that we can get into these movies. So amazing. One day we can do it. We can do it. All right. We've been going at this for a while. You guys said you got something to close this out, Brom?
Keep it going. Yep.
Brom,
Countdown time.
you got anything for us?
You bet it. Give it to me.
Tube 3 ready to fire, sir. Commence the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Give it to me.
Should we hear something right now?
Goodbye to me. Yeah.
I heard it.
Dude,
I didn't hear anything.
Get on my level, man. You should hear
All
it.
I heard was,
anything all night,
was
so.
that dog running around. Nah, I heard the music. It's good. We're good. All right, countdown. Keeping it moving here. Quick clip. I'm counting down the top 10 Disney animated films of all time. And to do this, because I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes and things like that, because you've got so many old animated films and they don't get proper critic ratings and things like that, I found 7 different sources with animated Disney film list top 10s. And I gave them, I created a scoring system. If they ranked a film 7th through 10th, I gave it a point. 4 through 6, I gave it 2 points. 2nd or 3rd, I gave it 3 points. And if it was their number 1, I gave it 4 points. I collected this from the top 10 list or top 25 list in some cases of IGN, Watch Mojo, Miss Mojo, IndieWire, Good Housekeeping, Games Radar, and The National. All right. So combining their scores, coming in at 10th place, the 10th best Disney animated film of all time. No Pixar film. Pixar is a rule stipulation I had here. Number 10 is Cinderella, scoring 5 points.
Okay.
So
That's
actually,
old, right? Isn't that like the 40s?
It's one of their older ones. It's not
Yeah,
the 40s.
the 50s, I think.
but,
50s? Okay.
But actually only appeared on 2 of the top 10 list of the 7 that I looked at. But Cinderella coming with 5 points. Then tied at 9 and then takes up 8th spot respectively as well. But tied here, scoring 6 points, are Moana and Fantasia.
Interesting.
Now Moana's newer, right?
Moana is newer, yeah.
Okay, I have not seen
It's a good
it.
movie. I liked it.
It might actually be the newest on the list here. Number 7 is Alice in Wonderland with 7 points.
Is that the Johnny Depp one?
Yes.
No. Disney animated, original animation.
Yeah.
Number 6 with 8 points, very highly regarded for being a game changer in animation, is Pinocchio.
Oh man, that movie.
Animated storytelling.
Pinocchio is a crazy freaking animated movie.
Mhm.
Like, if you're listening to this right now and you haven't seen this, if you haven't seen like that in 20 years, go back and watch Pinocchio, because there's some scenes in that movie that are just like, what the
Yeah,
am I watching?
it is, and it's also it's considered from a technical standpoint like the most perfect Disney film. Like they say, it's
Really?
like animation wise, it's perfect. Yeah, it's taught like in like animation school.
Really? I see. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. That's interesting. Okay.
Number 5 with 9 points is Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
Ooh, okay.
The original.
This is the first of the ones we've named here that had a number 1 overall listing. It was Watch Mojo's number 1. Number 4 with 11 points is The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Number 3, this is the first one on the list to appear on all 7 top 10 lists.
Lion
And it's
King.
13 points. It's Aladdin.
Aladdin.
My personal favorite.
It's a good one.
And then we have a huge jump to 2 movies that were in a dead heat until the very end here, scoring 21 points and 25 points.
Wow.
Huge jump here. Number 2 with 21 points is Beauty and the Beast.
Wow. Okay.
It's the first animated movie to ever be nominated for Best Picture.
I think it won.
Did not win.
It did not win?
Not Best Picture, no.
Oh, okay.
Jamie knew that immediately.
He's like, you pump your brakes,
No,
bro.
that'd be
That is
crazy.
not
He's
what-
very confident. If he was wishy-washy at all, I was going to overrule him.
But
that means-
yeah.
Number 1 with 25 points just blew the others out of the water. It's The Lion King.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Came in first place on 4 of the 7 lists and second place on the remaining 3.
I remember crying to that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Lion King's another one that like the production behind it is just as interesting as the movie, because they were making it at the same time as they're making Pocahontas, and everyone thought Pocahontas was going to be the next big thing, and no one wanted to work on Lion King, and people left Lion King to work on Pocahontas, and then
That's crazy.
Yeah. Dog.
See, like Lion King, like that. I want to know, Nick, like just because you have a vast depth of knowledge of this stuff.
That's what I'm here for.
What's your opinion on the Lion King and I can't think of the name of it, but the Japanese or Chinese movie, like so and so the White Tiger.
Oh yeah, Kimba the White Lion.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's some coincidences that are hard to explain away. Like there's like shots that are like exact.
Yeah,
like Disney definitely
like
cribbed
scene for
some
scene,
things.
like it literally looks exactly like it.
Yeah, but like the storyline of the Lion King is different. The storyline is based on Hamlet, so that's my opinion. It's different enough.
I'm satisfied.
You did your part, Nick.
I appreciate it.
Well, it always it cracks me up because when you look up those pictures, you're like, holy shit! Like it's. Some of those shots, I mean, it's the same exact drawing. Like it just is.
Like the shape of Pride Rock and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one came out first?
The
Kimba,
right?
It's an anime. It's an anime from like 1964 or something. Like it's like there's no excuse.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like, it was the whole thing. Like they tried suing Disney and all this stuff. Like it was a whole thing.
Well, they actually said they interviewed Matthew Broderick about it, and he said when he signed up for Lion King, he thought it was a remake of the Japanese movie. He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, I've seen that movie. This is a remake of it." And they're like, "No, it's not." And he was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Dude, I love that Matthew Broderick's doing the.
Like you just blew everyone's cover.
Yeah, like, oh my God, what did you do?
No. What?
No, what?
No.
Wow.
Is this a remake? oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Is that it, Kyle?
I wasn't me
Zach
doing
back
that.
side.
That was Brom doing that.
No, I just.
Oh, you want your
Transition
theme
to-
song? You want your new theme song, or your old theme song? I'm just kidding. You get
Both.
Zach. Oh.
Zach facts, it's Zach facts. When you're going down, get some Zach facts. When you're going down.
All right, Zach. It played.
What?
You're
How
up.
about it?
Okay, I didn't hear it. I'm good. I'm sorry. All right, Zach facts this week.
Crowdsourced.
Crowdsourced, fan sourced, crowdsourced.
I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And-
What do you think about that, Brom?
And no, they're not all from Brom
Oh, okay.
or someone else. There is some that's from others that gives a. Just listen. All right, Zach facts. Fact number 1. Dr. Sweet's voice actor, Phil Morris, spent 4 hours in a hospital gift shop to prepare for his role in this film.
In the gift shop. How do doctors act that walk through here? Big, macho.
Fact number 2. The design for the ruined version of Atlantis was based on West Baltimore.
Wow. Throwing some shade at our guests. Huh?
I didn't know he was from Baltimore.
Fact number 3. Disney bought the rights to the character Helga from a hentai company that debuted her as a kinky assassin with a penchant for slaying dong. But when Walt Disney's grandson discovered her on a lonely Friday night, he said, "We gotta get her."
I was just sitting there reading that, and Brom has to help me through it.
These have all been mine so far.
Fact number 4. Much like his character Milo, Michael J. Fox attempted to find the real Atlantis in the 80s, but stepped on a rusted harpoon off the coast of Iceland and contracted Parkinson's disease.
Wow. So that's how that happens.
Yeah.
And fact number 5 for the night of this 2-hour plus episode. When casting the movie, the directors wanted to cast a live mole for the character mole.
Now that would be maybe even better than Danny DeVito. I don't know.
That was Carly's. That was Carly's.
Really?
It's a good one.
Wow.
There it is. That's it.
That's Zach facts.
Mm-hmm.
They were good. Did you do any of those?
Nope.
No.
Why am I even here, guys? Why am I even here?
The delivery. That's what it is. Wow. All right. Is this the longest we've ever gone?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I apologize.
I knew it was going to be over 2 hours.
Dude, we knew it was going to be long, but man, we're getting there. With that, I don't know. We might just have to sign off.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Nick, anything
Thank
before
you.
we leave? Anything you want to plug? Anything like that? Where to follow you?
Absolutely not. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. He doesn't want any part of this.
There's a smash cut.
Alrighty, Kyle. Do you want
Thank you for listening to Submersion. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating wherever you listen. Want to interact with us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also love to get messages from all of you. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or just anything you'd like to share, please email us at macestudios@gmail.com.